Unexplained deaths got you down?
Why is this happening to me?
Then you need a Slayer. Buffy the Vampire Slayer, weeknights at 7, 6 Central on Comet. Human friendly.
Stay down.
Then deadly. Buffy the Vampire Slayer, weeknights at 7, 6 Central on Comet.
We collect every single last piece of evidence.
No object too small. Any doubts, bag it and tag it.
CSI Nights, weeknights on Charge.
Introducing Stir. It's a new way to watch TV for free. It's live local news, it's live sports, it's movies, TV shows, cult favorites, the latest viral videos, and more. Just go to the App Store and download Stir to unlock a free lineup of TV channels and video on-demand programming, all stirred up into one easy-to-use app. It's free TV, anytime, anywhere.
Are we gonna see a dead body?
Possibly several.
Unexplained deaths got you down?
Why is this happening to me?
Prophetic dreams keeping you up all night?
Now we're all sleepy.
New roommates acting freaky?
She irons her jeans. She's evil.
Then you need a Slayer.
I'm good.
Human friendly, vamp deadly. Buffy the Vampire Slayer, weeknights at 7, 6 Central on Comet.
Welcome back, everyone. Thanks for joining us for continuing coverage on what is now Hurricane Nicole. As forecast, that tropical storm has become now a hurricane, surpassing the 74-mile-per-hour threshold.
Yeah, our Chief Meteorologist, Vitas Reed, joining us right now. I guess no surprises here, Vitas.
Yeah, in fact, we were talking about that. In fact, one of the concerns I have is that now we do have a well-defined eye kind of forming. That just happened over the last hour, hour and a half, just south of Grand Bahama Island. Winds right now at the latest update, 6 p.m. update, moving west at 12 miles per hour. Looking at winds these are sustained winds, continuous blowing winds at 75, gusting to 85 miles per hour. Now, this is going to go over Grand Bahama Island, not a large landmass or any mountains associated there. It's very flat, and then we're going to see that continue to move out. Let me step out here. I'm sorry. I'm trying to do also a Facebook Live, and my phone just fell, but I'm trying to do two things at once. We're broadcasting in two locations. Taking a look at that, possibly making a landfall, and as it does make a landfall as we get through the overnight around 1 to 3 o'clock in the morning. So what we're looking at on the track of this, we're seeing this continue to strengthen. And I'm concerned, though, between where it is now and its landfall. Could it strengthen a little more? Well, the forecast models are showing it's staying about 75, but there is some warm ocean waters, and a couple models showed a little strengthening, but we'll see it probably making a landfall on the Treasure Coast, anywhere from Martin County or northeastern portions of Palm Beach County all the way up towards Martin County, Indian River, or even as far north as
Break free. I want to break free. Ready to break free on your best vacation ever? I want to be free. Book your cruise today and discover the world with Norwegian.
Gutters and vinyl siding damage possible, large branches snap, and some trees toppled. Power outages possible, could last for days, and it looks like we'll continue to see that be the issue. We have that rain coming down, and as it gets dark, you cannot see what roads are flooded out, so I highly recommend you don't venture out. There could be a big limb in a street, you may not see it. A deeper water that you're not used to, you could totally drive right into it, get stuck, and your car is stalled out. Then the emergency folks have to come and do a water rescue. So you don't want to get into any of that. Stay home, ride it out, and don't have to get out into this, because it will get worse hour by hour. So we're looking at hurricane warnings in the red from up towards Sebastian or just north of that in Brevard County down through Indian River, up around Fort Pierce, Port St. Lucie, all of these areas included in that. From St. Lucie County, Martin County, including Stewart, Jupiter, down through the eastern portions like 441 east to the coast, you're under a hurricane warning. Beyond that, tropical storm warnings are in place as the storm is going to continue to affect your areas. Rain bands have been moving in. We're going to see more of the heavier rain bands. It will get much worse. It's going to get noisier, heavier amounts of rainfall, flooding. We can get several inches, anywhere from about 3 to 6 up to 8 inches of rain in some areas where you get those training lines. That means a lot of rain inundation, the ground saturated, so it's going to have a hard place to go. You're seeing on the radar, we're seeing spotty showers now, but here's those rain bands getting ready to push in the next few hours. And then, like I said, it's going to get driving rain with the wind. It's going to be hard to see. You don't want to be out in that. We're looking at the severe weather potential. This is a level 2 potential for tornadic activity through parts of St. Lucie County north, but then also we have the green shaded area. That's marginal. That means level 1. Still, there could be an isolated tornado that spins up in these areas, even down into Palm Beach County. So take note of that. The biggest and greatest threat for tornadoes are probably after midnight tonight through the early morning hours until about 4 a.m. So just make sure you have your weather alerts on, your weather radio ready to go. If you get an alert, a lot of folks will be going to bed and trying to sleep when this storm is making its landfall. As far as the winds, we're talking about tropical storm force hurricane winds. The strongest winds are on the north side of the storm. That means areas from Stewart north, you're going to probably get the most sustained damage out of this. On the back side of the storm, it's going to be about 20 miles less than whatever it comes on the north side. So if it's coming on shore at 75 south on Palm Beach County, it might be about south of the eye, might be 55, but the wind gusts could be 75 mile an hour. Wind gusts on the north side of the storm, 95 potentially. So we're going to see a lot of potential trees down, power outages, also a lot of structural potential damage. This will make its way onshore, and there'll be heavy rain across and wind across Okeechobee County and areas north. Then it will continue to move north. And as we go through the day on Thursday, we'll probably get breaks in the clouds. Probably after about 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, we'll probably just be breezy and some sun starts to come out. And people want to venture out and see what happened. Well, you want to kind of be cautious with that. There could be power lines down. Don't let kids go play in that water. It's dirty. It's polluted. It also could have power lines in it. There could be nails and broken wood and things like that in that. You want to just be very cautious if you are if you're home. Just let the folks get out and clean up as far as the crews taking care of the power lines, and then also the law enforcement. They'll be out there. Fire department. They'll be making sure things are clear. Of course, there might be yard picking up, things like that, but be very alert of where those power lines could be. Let's move on here. We're talking about a couple of things that did occur that are similar to this. If you remember Gene and Francis, they made landfall right in this area. This is about the same track, almost identical, where this storm Nicole might go. As far as the chances of these type of winds, it's updated. 100% chance to see these tropical storm force winds. So what I'm trying to say, and I'll say it on my friends on Facebook right now who are watching off to the side, I'm going to let them know that if you live in any county on the Treasure Coast down through Palm Beach County, you will, doesn't matter what town you are in, what city you're in, you will get tropical storm force winds. That means 39 mile per hour or greater. Right now, the greater would be more towards, and when that storm and that center circulation gets here, more towards the 65 to 75 mile an hour winds, gusting 75 to 85 or greater. So that is a guarantee for anyone in Okeechobee County, Martin County, Indian River County, St. Lucie County, Palm Beach County, all of you. So you're all going to have some type of winds, at least in those stronger end of tropical storm force winds. And then the hurricane force winds will be more on the north side of that land. Now, as we're looking at the landfall of potential winds that are going to start to pick up, we're looking at those winds maybe 65 to 70 mile an hour almost, as we see on the north side, a little lesser on the south side. This is looking at about 1:30 in the morning. And then that low will continue to move across, and we'll start to see those winds die down. The winds come from the south, and we start to see that storm clear out of here. We still have to worry about the storm surge. We haven't had a chance to talk about this a whole lot, but 3 to 5 feet. And we've seen what's happening along the coastal region. So a lot of flood inundation that's going to happen for people who live along, especially Hutchinson Island, these areas. You're going to be in a big problem with this because there's going to be a lot of beach erosion from this storm. I'm going to have more on this storm and also the track of this latest update and the 6 p.m. update coming up. We do have now officially Hurricane Nicole heading our way. Back to you guys.
Well, in about 3 hours in Okeechobee County, a curfew is going into effect. It begins at 9 p.m. It's going to go through till 7 a.m. Officials say during that time, it will be unsafe for anyone to travel on the roadways because of flooding, flying debris, fallen trees, and power lines. We've already gotten reports of fallen trees, one in West Palm that fell on a house. The curfew will be strictly enforced within the county limits and the city limits of Okeechobee County.
CBS 12 News continues tracking Hurricane Nicole right after this.
And there's no beaches that are closed. The causeways aren't closed. There's a lot of people moving around out there. Sheriff's been on all day telling them, stay in, stay in, stay in. They haven't done that. They're out there moving around a lot. The county doesn't want to close those places, so you may have some calls or issues there. If it gets that bad, we can close down a specific area, but we're trying not to do that. Hopefully people will go home. But those areas have been extremely busy tonight. Shelters. There's 5 shelters that are currently open. If you
One, two, three, four, five, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
We're not going
Hey,
to,
we're going to Martin County?
no? Al?
Al or Martin?
So no Martin County?
Al and Fort Pierce.
But I really do mean that. Thank you for being here. And I've said it before, but if it wasn't for you guys on this shift, people wouldn't be at home.
Welcome back. We continue tracking Hurricane Nicole.
Let's take it now to Fort Pierce, and the conditions there are Al Peffley is standing by live. Al?
Liz, we're at the Fort Pierce Marina, the Fort Pierce City Marina. You can see we're on a floating dock. That's kind of why we're rocking back and forth here. And fortunately, there's a railing here that I can hang on to. If we get a gust of wind, that'll keep me from falling over into the water here, I guess. But I wanted to point out that there are a number of boats out here, numerous boats that are tied up at the marina. I spoke to a woman who lives with her husband and their daughter on one of these boats tonight. She said they do not feel this is an unsafe place to be. In fact, she said they're going to have a hurricane party along with 2 or 3 other people who live on boats who are all going to get together and kind of wait for Nicole to make landfall in this area. The wind is very, very strong. The rain is steady and very heavy at times. And it's also quite cold out here tonight, actually. We were out on the Barrier Island, on Hutchinson Island, a little while ago. Fort Pierce police were out there. They were using their loudspeakers telling everybody, time to get out of here, time to go home. This place is closed. As you know, they had closed the bridge going over from Fort Pierce to Hutchinson Island. That's called Seaway Drive. They closed the bridge for anybody going eastbound trying to get to the island, except for those who live there, who were checking on a loved one, who can show some ID to show that they have a reason for going over there. Otherwise, they did not want
the National Desk, America's News Now,
looking to do harm to other people over there. Properties may be unattended. So the police were keeping everybody out except those who had a reason to be there. Anybody who wanted to come back, of course, from the island onto the mainland was free to do that. It was a violent, wild place. There were street signs just flipping around in the wind just like that. At any time, one of those things could have gone airborne, and you can imagine what kind of danger that would pose if like something like a stop sign was flying through the air. I remember years ago during a hurricane in West Palm, I actually saw one of those flying through the air like a spear. And I couldn't imagine somebody being hit with that. Obviously, you'd be seriously injured or killed. So again, we're here at the Fort Pierce Marina. A lot of people on boats out here are just waiting to see what happens. They told me This lady told me they have a go bag packed. If they needed to leave quickly, they could. But she said this is probably going to be a safe place to be tonight. She said considering it's only a Category 1, she felt that would be a safe alternative for them just to stay out here tonight. So we'll continue to be here and watch how this thing unfolds tonight. Live in Fort Pierce, Al Peffley, CBS 12 News.
All right, Al, thank you. Hopefully that is a safe place to have the storm.
Yeah, in the next 4 hours, things are going to get even worse. All right, let's send it over to our Luli Ortiz. She's over at our touch screen in the studio tonight with, she's been monitoring social media. And what are you seeing tonight?
Well, right now I want to focus on power outages. Florida Power and Light, they're urging customers, they say, to be prepared for power outage, especially now that Nicole has strengthened into a hurricane. They have a plan underway. They have about 13,000 men and women on the ready. But they go on to say that FPL is already restoring power in some parts of the east coast of Florida. And we are monitoring what's out there right now and the power outages at this time. We do expect that number to go up. I want to refresh the page here just so that we have the latest numbers for you. I want to start in Palm Beach County. 3,300 customers now without power, a little, it's 6:15 almost. And in Martin County, 80 customers without power. St. Lucie, they have 283 power outages right now. Indian River, 80. But again, Florida Power and Light, they are saying that they are already restoring power in parts of the service area impacted by feeder bans. They're urging customers to finalize preparations and prepare to be without power. They go on to say that emergency response plan is well underway. They have about 13,000 men and women in this effort to be there to restore the power. But again, they're urging customers to be prepared. Liz and Jim.
Luli, thank you so much. And FPL has made it clear that they have crews ready to go. And as Luli mentioned, they're already restoring power. As long as it's safe to do so, they will go out and work.
All right, stay with us. We'll be right back.
of winning. We're ready to fight for you.
CBS 12 News is sponsored by Simply Healthcare.
Don't wait until it's too late. Protect your home from hurricanes and tropical storms with Guardian Storm Protection, providing families peace of mind for over 20 years. Hurricane windows can cost up to 3 times the price of shutters. Guardian Storm Protection offers the best products in the industry at the lowest prices. Accordion shutters, roll down, Bahama, colonial shutters, and more.
We never ask for a deposit. We only get paid when the job is fully complete. My family, protecting your family.
Guardian Storm Protection. Get a free estimate today. Call 561-621-1629.
Welcome back, everyone. Communities in the Lantana area are doing all they can ahead of Hurricane Nicole's landfall.
Yeah, our John Evanson has been in the community tonight. He's been checking things out there. Talked to a few residents. Let's listen in.
Hey guys, John Evanson here in Lantana. I am at Lyman Kayak Park, just taking a little stroll through the park, knee deep in water. As you can see, that's right, you heard right. This is a park. I'm on grass right now. We have some paths behind me here. Beautiful park. As you can see, I've never been here before. There's some benches back there. Lyman Kayak Park. The kayaking is supposed to be going on the intercoastal back there, but as you can tell, you could probably kayak through the actual park here today as I step onto a sidewalk here, and it gets a little bit more shallow. The water does. I was told by some neighbors that this is nothing. This was really, really high up during high tide. The water level, not this high, but it was higher at around 11 o'clock, 10, 11, 12 o'clock this morning, which stands to reason that it'll be much, much higher tonight at high tide. In fact, this entire area, I was told, was underwater earlier today. So if you were shocked by that sight, there's a lot to plan for tonight. Here's what's your name, sir?
David Burns.
David Burns. Now, this is your neighborhood for 6-7 years, you were telling me?
Yes.
And have you ever seen anything like this before? I don't know if you saw the flooding earlier during high tide.
Yeah, I did, and it was coming out to the sidewalk. I bring my dog down every day to swim.
What's your dog's name?
Bailey.
Bailey loves the water, or no? Is it a water dog, Bailey?
Yeah.
Oh, Bailey. Well, I don't think Bailey likes this type of water. You should try to tell her that this flooding could be dangerous.
That's why I'm keeping her out of it. But for it to come up this high, it had to have at least like 6 to 8 foot surge.
Wow.
Easily.
And so you might have taken your dog for a walk this morning. Were you just absolutely shocked by what you saw?
Yes, it started to have an empty lot about 3 houses down, and the water came up about halfway through the lot, and I was like, that's incredible. I've never seen water come up through there. And then when I got to the park, this was shocking.
And you can expect the water levels to go up. Is it affecting your actual home? Did the water levels go up to that height or to any different height down there? It's just sort of in this area here.
Yeah, it's the same over there. My house is elevated about 3 feet in the air, so I'm pretty safe for the surge.
Good. Well, stay safe. I'm just going to give our viewers one more look at just how deep this water here is at Lyman Kayak Park. I mentioned you could probably kayak through this park, although I absolutely am not recommending that. In fact, do not do that, please. We do not want kayaks out tonight, as this could be a very dangerous situation, as there's much more flooding expected. The rain hasn't even really started yet, and the high tide is coming around 10, 11 again. This will give you an idea, a little idea right here of what to expect later on. So stay safe out there. Back to you guys.
All right, for the very latest now on Nicole's track, let's head over to our chief meteorologist, Fetus Reed.
Okay, so you can see those waves. They are still, really getting bigger and bigger. They're going to continue to push in on the beaches, and there's going to be a lot of beach erosion with this, especially along the Treasure Coast. Hurricane status now. We're out of the tropical storm range. We are in the hurricane range. This thing is getting an eye. Take a look at that over Grand Bahama Island. So right now there are probably birds flying. It's nice and quiet and tranquil in the center of that eye. But the northern portions, and you're starting to see that eye eye wall develop as it comes off the coast on the west coast of this. We'll probably get an eye wall developing that's going to be a little bit tougher and stronger as those thunderstorms are feeding off of that warm ocean water in between Grand Bahama Island and the west or the east coast of Florida. Right now, winds at 75 miles per hour, gusting to 85, moving west at 12 miles per hour. The timing putting it here probably about 1 o'clock in the morning, and then that landfall between 1 and 3 a.m. The agreement pretty much close on. We know that it's going to be probably the Treasure Coast, and we're going to continue to see that through Martin County, St. Lucie County, up to Indian River, as far north as southern portions of Brevard County. Folks in Okeechobee, you're also going to be having effects of this, as strong as maybe Category 1 to strong tropical storm force winds. Once it moves inland, it starts losing a little bit of steam, but not that much. You'll have some effects from this. On the south side of the storm, a little bit lesser because you're getting the return flow on the weaker edge of the storm. When I say weaker, that means 55 to 60 mile an hour winds gusting up to 70, 75. That can do damage, knock down trees. The northern side, you might see 85 to 90 mile an hour winds, and all that storm surge on the north side, 3 to 5 foot storm surge up on those areas. Storm continues to move north, and it'll head into Georgia and then kind of fizzle out. Much agreement on the track. So we're looking at the weather models, pretty much in agreement, looking at the direction of where this storm will go. And it looks like we'll continue to see that as a Category 1 hurricane, 74 mile an hour to 95. Right now it's at 75 mile per hour. Could it get a little stronger? Possibly. We have to watch that closely to see could there be any more strengthening over that warm water just off the coast. Some shingle, gutter, and vinyl siding damage, most likely. Large branches snap, and some trees are toppled. Those trees could topple on your rooftop, on a car. If you're outside, you have to be careful with that. You don't want to be outside. Bringing power lines down. That's why we could see power outages for the next couple of days in some of these areas. The crews are out there. They're waiting. They're getting ready and prepped. And then once this goes through, they'll start the work to clean up and let them do their jobs because they're good at it, and they're going to get us back up and running relatively quickly. But here's what it looks like as far as out at the airport. No planes taking off. Airport shut down as we continue to see the effects of the storm. Warnings, hurricane warning stretching from Brevard County through Indian River, St. Lucie County, Martin County, and eastern portions of Palm Beach County, stretching from 441 over to the coast. So if you live in those areas, and reason being here is a highly populated area. It's more people that live along that area east of 441. West is a little more sparse, but nonetheless, we're looking at tropical storm warnings there. It doesn't mean that you can't get damage or a tornado in that area. These rain bands are going to be dangerous through the overnight. And why I say dangerous? They're making their way in. You see these bands. What happens in those bands? You can get some vorticity, some small spin-ups. That means tornadoes. Greater chances for tornadic activity the further up the Treasure Coast you go. Center of circulations over the Bahamas. You can see the eye here. We're going to get those outer bands. These will be dangerous rain bands. Why? Because they're going to have heavy amounts of rain coming in. In fact, we'll probably start hearing one here in West Palm. Hope Sound, you're starting to get some heavy rain, and up over towards Jupiter. This is what we're talking about. Those inches of rain, 3 to 5, up to 8 inches of rain possibly, and that's what we'll be seeing. So looking at some of those heavy rain bands, Stewart, Hope Sound starting to make its way in. Jupiter, West Palm, Lake Worth, we'll continue to see those coming in. But as it gets closer with that vorticity, we could get maybe an isolated tornado or two. So the better chances of level 2 to the north, we're looking at level 1 around our area. Timing out those winds, it looks like it's going to be moving in onshore, 1 to 3 a.m., hurricane force winds on the northern edge of it, and then it starts to clear out. We start to see probably some clearing as we get in through Thursday morning. We're talking about maybe 10, 11 o'clock. There may be a few breaks in the clouds, and we'll get some sun probably out there for the evening. It might be a beautiful sunset, but you're going to have to do some cleanup. But it could be dangerous out there with whatever's out and left on the ground, especially power lines. Just be very cautious. We've had a couple of the storms that are well-known names, Gene and Francis. Look at that line. This is where they made landfall years ago in that same area. So we have also that potential for those winds, tropical storm force winds through our entire area. So if you're watching at any one of our counties, you definitely are going to get tropical storm force winds or crater hurricane force winds up to the north on the Treasure Coast. I'm going to have more on this coming up in just a bit. Back to you guys.
All right, thanks, Vitas. FPL trying to stay ahead of this one. On the Treasure Coast tonight, this was the scene, St. Lucie County. Tree cutting trucks already starting to arrive. They're setting up a staging area, FP&L is, over at the fairgrounds there. And you can imagine they'll be out and about as soon as they can. Well, these are the streets over Martin County, and you can see just how bad the flooding there is. This is some of the street flooding we've been witnessing across that area. So far, no reports of homes with anything like that, but this is over on Pine Tree Lane in the Palm City area.
We'll have more news right after the break.
CBS 12 News Eye on Health has its finger on the pulse, keeping you and your family safe. Stay healthy and happy. Watch CBS 12 News Eye on Health, the one to turn to.
Deliver that sweet day, cheat day. Never miss a beat day. Chillin' in your PJs, working on the weekdays. Living like a freak day. Celebrate any day with edible. Be sweet today.
Are you a happy camper? The best memories start with fresh air, new adventures, and living the RV lifestyle. Let Copley's help you get away. For more than 30 years, Copley's has been helping families make memories that will last a lifetime, with straight answers to your questions and without high-pressure sales tactics.
Let our family help your family be happy campers too.
Copley's RV Center on US 1 in Hobe Sound. S'mores not included.
A breakfast croissant plus seasoned potatoes for $3, and they're red shirting you?
It's just a standard work shirt.
Hey, way to stay humble, man.
Thank you, Reg.
Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's $3 breakfast deal.
Dancing is everything. Soccer is the best.
But her moderate to severe eczema could make it hard for her.
Now I'm staying ahead of it.
Dupixent helps heal your skin from within so they can have clearer skin and less itch. Serious allergic reactions can occur that can be severe. Tell your doctor about new or worsening eye problems such as eye pain or vision changes, including blurred vision, joint aches and pain, or a parasitic infection. Don't change or stop asthma medicines without talking to your doctor. Ask your doctor about Dupixent.
I'm Mark, and I live in Vero Beach, Florida. My wife and I have 3 children. Ruth Ann and I like to hike. We eat healthy, we exercise. I noticed I wasn't as sharp as I used to be. My wife introduced me to Prevagen. So I said, yeah, I'll try it out. I noticed that I felt sharper. I felt like I was able to respond to things quicker. And I thought, yeah, it works for me.
Prevagen, healthier brain, better life.
It's your boy, Biggie!
That is Reggie Bush, dressed up as a Wendy's biggie bag.
Fries!
Come on, Nuggets!
There it is! Drinks! No, not the drinks, man.
Choose wisely. Choose Wendy's $5 biggie bag.
On December 31st, one lucky homeowner is going to win up to $25,000 in new impact windows from StormTite Windows, and it could be you. It's easy. Just text the word at the bottom of your screen to 373737. Text now.
You don't have to live with the aching, swelling, and pain of varicose veins. At United Vein Centers, our minimally invasive treatments for vein disease result in little to no downtime. The treatments are covered by Medicare and most health insurance. Call us today to schedule your free vein screening at one of our locations.
Right now at City Furniture, we'll give you 60 months special financing with no down payment and free shipping. Why? So everyone can live like this.
On December 31st, one lucky homeowner is going to win up to $25,000 in new impact windows from StormTite Windows, and it could be you. It's easy. Just text the word at the bottom of your screen to 373737. Text now.
Welcome back, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm Liz Quirantes.
I'm Jim Grimes. We continue tracking now Hurricane Nicole as it moves closer to our coastline. We have live team coverage tonight from the Treasure Coast to Palm Beach County.
But first, let's get straight over to Chief Meteorologist Vitas Reed with a check on where Hurricane Nicole is right now. It's getting closer, V.
Yeah, with every hour it inches a little closer. It gets more well-defined eye and also creates more rain that's going to come down. Our winds will start to pick up. It'll get a little bit noisier out there. We'll continue to see waves of rain and that surge picking up along the coastal regions. The latest update, the advisory at 6 p.m. gives it a westerly movement, 12 miles per hour. Winds sustained. That means continuous winds blowing at 75 miles per hour, 85 mile per hour wind gusts, and it looks like that pressure's at 980 millibars. You can see here on the radar image that it's over Grand Bahama Island, and it's pretty much tranquil and quiet right now in Freeport because it's in the center of that eye. But on the western edge of that eye, start to get that little bit of a eye wall and some strengthening on that edge of the storm. So we'll continue to see some of that being the worst winds, even though the rain bands are going to come in and they'll start picking up pace as we go through the evening hours, and that rain's going to get pretty heavy. Here's what it looks like as far as the latest track from the models. We're looking at the potential cone of possibility. Of course, it started out much wider, and as we get more forecasts, it gets smaller and smaller because there's more confidence in that track, and it looks pretty confident that it's going to go. Now remember, it could go a little further north or a little further south in this cone of possibility. Right now, that's of course in the middle, so it puts it over St. Lucie County. Could it go a little further south over Martin County, or even clip the northeastern portion of Palm Beach County? Possible. So there's still possibilities in a little bit of movement, or could it go further north? But definitely everyone in this region is going to get some type of hurricane force winds, and then also tropical storm force winds on the southern half of the storm. The strongest winds are on the north. That means these counties are going to probably get most of the storm surge, most of the heavy wind and rain. Well, all of us will probably see that with those rain bands. We can get some flooding with that. Let's talk about the track, continuing across Okeechobee County through the bend of the state, and then making that turn up over Georgia, then kind of dying out over parts of South Carolina. The models are in agreement as far as the direction, looking at most likely somewhere along the Treasure Coast. And that timeline is going to happen probably around 1 o'clock in the morning, between 1 and 3 a.m. A lot of folks are going to be going to bed at that time. And that's when we could get some of the heaviest wind or strongest wind, heaviest rain. And then also the isolated tornadoes will start possibly picking up after midnight. So just be aware, have your phones on, your alerts ready, and have your weather radios on if you do have them to get those alerts if there's a tornado warning. If there is, remember, go to an interior portion of your house, away from exterior windows and walls so that you can be safe if there's a tornado warning in your neighborhood, and we will track that individual tornado warning if it occurs. Category 1, 74 to 95 mile per hour winds. That's what we see. That's category 1 out of 5, but that still is a very intense storm. Some shingles, gutters, and vinyl siding damage, large branches snap, and some trees toppled. That could fall on power lines. That could make a mess. So we're talking about trees coming down on rooftops or on cars. You don't want to be out in this. It's getting dark. A lot of roads can be flooded. You can't see where you're driving, whether it's a canal or whether it's a road, and you want to make sure you're safe. So if you don't have to be out in this, I say just ride it out at home and let this storm pass and see what happens for tomorrow. Here's a look at PBIA. No planes are taking off. Airport is shut down. We'll continue to see that because of the warning stretching from Brevard County down through Indian River, St. Lucie County, Martin County, down through eastern portions of Palm Beach County. That's about 441 there. Reason because it's the most populated area, has most potential for more structural damage and where more people live. So we're looking at hurricane warnings there, tropical storm warnings beyond that, including Okeechobee County, Lake Okeechobee, and westward. Here's the radar imagery. You can see that eye over, you can see it quite well, Grand Bahama Island there. And this eye will continue to make its way our way. Several rain bands coming our direction, and we're going to start really picking up on that rain. The ground is saturated. That means flooding. Here's a look at the storm track radar. You can see Fort Pierce, some showers coming down. Palm Bay getting a nice heavy rain band. Hope Sound, a nice rain band moving in on us now. We're looking at Jupiter, West Palm, Lake Worth Beach. Winds will start to pick up in these rain bands. There could be a little vorticity. What does that mean? A little spinning in some of those storms. And as that moves in, that gives us a chance for tornadoes. So we're looking at a slight risk category. That's level 2, stretching from St. Lucie County northward on the Treasure Coast. And then marginal risk just wrapping around that. That's including Martin County, northeast portions of Palm Beach County. And that means we could also see that as we go through the overnight. So just be alert that there could be isolated tornadoes that could do damage with this storm. High res wind and gust forecast. This is looking at the potential for those winds being pretty strong. As that eye makes its landfall somewhere on the Treasure Coast, we'll see the strongest winds on the north side. South side, you subtract about 20 mile an hour wind. If it is Lincoln landfall at 75 mile an hour winds to the north, that means we'd probably see 55 mile an hour winds sustained to the south. But the wind gust, if they're 85, the gusting winds, that means we're getting 65 mile an hour gust on the southern part of the storm generally. Moving across the state, then it starts to move out. Now, the one thing you'll notice, midday, it's going to start clearing out on Thursday afternoon. We might get some sunshine. A rain band goes through, then it clears out. Then the rain band goes through, then more sun. And as we get into the evening, we may get a beautiful sunset, but just be cautious going out. There could be power lines down. There could be flooded areas. Don't let the kids get in that dirty, polluted water. Let it recede. Just kind of let the storm make its way out before you get out venture out. So we're seeing is a 100% chance, stretching all the way past Lake Okeechobee for us to get tropical storm force winds. That means we will probably have some strong winds of some sort for every county in our area that is watching us right now. So here's what it looks like with those winds wrapping in, looking at 65-mile-an-hour winds. Now this is looking at gusts now, because of course this is a model run, so it will most likely be a little bit stronger than this. On the south side of it, anywhere from 30 to 40 to 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts. And then of course when that low continues more further inland, it will start to lose its strength. But we are going to see a lot of water pushing up ahead of this thing. So we're looking at 3 to 5 foot storm surge, and this is looking up towards Port St. Lucie, Hutchinson Island, further north. These areas are definitely going to get inundated with a lot of water, and there could be a lot of beach erosion with that, creating problems for boardwalks, any trails, tracks along those areas, A1A. There's going to be a lot of sand thrown up on those roadways, so just be aware of that. And then down around the bend here, around Hope Sound, down through the northeast portions up there towards Jensen Beach, as well as up around Jupiter. So 2 to 4 foot storm surge forecasted at this time. So as we see the rain moving in, we do have flood watches. That means that there's going to be areas that are going to get flood warnings or flash flood warnings. If it's really a steady downpour of rain in one core area, definitely that could be a problem for us. So what we're also going to see, rain to come. We're looking at this much potential, like I said, anywhere from about 3 up to 4 to 5 inches of rain, pockets of 5 inches, looking at some heavy rainfall over Palm Beach County, Martin County, stretching all along the Treasure Coast. This is going to be a heavy rainmaker. All of that has to go somewhere. So it's going to create a lot of flooding across a lot of the regions in our viewing area. And we will see this wrapping in. Those rain bands wrap through this storm. This is 9:30 in the morning. Look what's happening. We're seeing the back edge of this storm. And then we'll start to see more clearing as the storm moves through the day. As we get through the afternoon, evening, we should see more drier conditions building in as we go through the day. So here's some county by county effects. So we're looking at Palm Beach County. The worst will be through the overnight tonight into tomorrow morning. Those winds will be picking up, gusting up to 40 to 50, maybe even greater. We have 1 to 3 to more inches of rain, maybe 4 inches of rain. I might even update that depending on what we see. Looking at storm surge 2 to 4 feet. As we look at Martin County, of course, overnight tonight and through early tomorrow morning, the worst parts of the storm, we're looking at greater wind potentials up to 55, maybe 65-mile-an-hour winds, 2 to 4 inches, maybe 5 inches in pockets of rain up around St. Lucie County. Same overnight and through tomorrow morning, winds up to 65, gusting 45 to 55. So this may see even greater winds. So if this makes that landfall in the northern portions of St. Lucie County, you might get those 85-mile-an-hour wind gusts potentially. So as you go further up the coast, it may be worse. So we're talking about St. Lucie County, Indian River County. You may have the worst parts of the winds, the rain, the heaviest amounts of rain, 4 to 6 inches, storm surge, 3 to 5 feet. So we're looking at probably St. Lucie County, Indian River County with most of the effects or the worst effects out of the storm. Okeechobee County, as that storm moves inland, those winds will slowly start to die down. I wouldn't rule out 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts at times with this because it's still moving inland. Even though you're on the front edge of the storm, sometimes you can get those rain bands that kick up something. And we get daily thunderstorms in the summer with the 65-mile-an-hour wind gusts when we get those severe thunderstorm warnings. That's something to take note of. Rainfall about 1 to 3, maybe up to 4 inches. So we're going to continue to see this improve through the weekend. Here's a look at your 10-day. We've not really had time to even talk about your 10-day. We'll see the effects of that storm leaving us in the morning, 70% chance for that shower activity, 84 degrees. We'll start to see Friday, still a little bit breezy on the back edge of it, maybe a trailing shower, but I think for the most part, we're seeing drying conditions moving in for the week and into the weekend. So I think it's going to be much quieter conditions down the road. I'm going to have more details on the storm. We are talking about Hurricane Nicole coming up.
All right, thank you, Vitas. Let's take a look outside now on the Treasure Coast in Vero Beach, where our Amber Robb is standing by live. Amber, what can you show us? I know it's dark.
Yeah, Liz, it's real dark out here, and now the rain's starting to pelt down. You can see it a little bit probably through the camera because it's coming down real hard. But over here, we were just here, I'm over on Ocean Drive in Vero Beach, and earlier we were showing you that part of the bridge is caved in and part of the sidewalk leading up to that bridge is as well. Now we're getting closer to high tide, so the ocean waters are coming further up, and I mean you can see on Ocean Drive earlier during that high tide that water was already up here because you can see debris. Now up until maybe 30 minutes ago, we were still seeing people coming out and, you know, taking pictures, getting on the boardwalk even though they're not supposed to. And just They wanted to see it for themselves, but emergency management is saying stay home. If you do not have to be out, do not be out. Now, over here on this side, there is a voluntary evacuation order, but I can still see people. There's an apartment right behind us, and I can see people with their lights on, still at home. It's not required for people to evacuate, but first responders are saying that once we reach those 45-mile-per-hour wind gusts, they probably won't be coming over that bridge. So they don't want anyone getting stuck and them not being able to help. But I was talking earlier today with people who are out and about here, and Cody Troop says that, you know, he's not worried right now. Are you worried at all, safety-wise, being out here?
Not yet. I mean, when it gets, 11, 12 o'clock, I'll be hunkered down in the house. We got shutters up at the house. Help the neighbor put his shutters on the house, see how they're going and stuff. So we'll just have to wait and see till midnight, see what it does.
While being out here, we've already seen some of the waves come up just a little bit, so it's starting to reach us. But when we were driving over the bridge to come over here earlier, over Indian River, there were some docks that were already partially submerged. So, we're already seeing a little bit of those waters rise, so just be careful while you're out there. Tune in to our meteorologists and tune in to CBS 12 just to hear the latest updates and stay with us on social media. Back to you guys.
All right, let's visit Stuart right now. Lena Salzbank's been there throughout the afternoon. She's joining us live tonight with what it looks like there. Lena, it looks like the wind and the rain is strengthening.
Yes, the storm is really picking up right now. Like you said, the wind is super strong. Take a look at these waves behind me. I mean, it's pretty incredible to see just how much force there is when it comes to these waves. The light pole right in front of me actually is also shaking every once in a while, and the pier further down to my left, it's a little bit hard to see right now because it's so dark over there. The pier over there pretty much crashed into the water. So we've been seeing a ton of people actually come out to Sandsford Park just to see what it's like out there. Like, out right behind me, there's about 12 cars that drove in here. A lot of them are sitting in their cars taking a look at this storm, waiting it out to see if it gets worse. Let me bring you to Robert over here. He's one of those people that I said came out to see what's going on. Robert, why did you decide to come out here during this weather?
First hurricane. First hurricane.
What do you think of it so far?
To be honest, it's pretty exciting. I know that there can be, bad things associated, but, I just wanted to see it firsthand.
And where are you coming from?
Originally from North Carolina.
Well, hopefully you stay safe. And, we mentioned this earlier, that this is the first time a lot of New Yorkers have moved to this area, and other people from across the country are here in Florida now, and this might be their first hurricane. So let me just warn you one more time to see what the waves are looking like. Make it quick and maybe try to get back home because the roads are going to get flooded and it's going to be much harder to keep yourself out of harm's way. Back to you.
Lena, it's hard to tell where the seawall begins and ends. Is that behind you? What is that, like 10 feet behind you, the seawall?
Yeah, I mean, the water is well above the seawall right now. I mean, it's coming out past, there's a sidewalk near those benches there. So the water is well above the seawall. So I think that ship has sailed a little while ago, Jim.
So the tide's going to get a little higher in the next few hours. So it'll be interesting when we check back with you a little later, see what that looks like. All right, Lena Salzbank in Stuart tonight.
Incidentally, high tide is at 8:36 tonight.
All right, well, this is a check back further south over in Fort Lauderdale, and you can see the boats rocking on that rough surf tonight. And
wow, that
beautiful
is really
shot.
rough.
But wow, yeah, there it is. Okay, that's
All
the
right.
shot. That's
And
Fort Lauderdale, and those boats obviously are anchored down. But this is a big concern. We have so many people here with vessels, and they have to make sure that they put them in the right spot to weather these types of storms.
And this is in Cocoa Beach, as you can
Okay.
see, that rough surf and the strong winds there.
All right, let's shift gears. We're going to go to our meteorologist, Michael Ehrenberg, for more on Nicole's track. Michael?
Yeah, hey guys, you can see the center of Nicole clearly visible right now over Grand Bahama Island, about 120 miles east of West Palm Beach. And we have had some occasional rain bands come in, but now we're going to be looking at steadier, heavier rain. Here's a look at the outer rain shield of the steadier rainfall, which continues to rotate in wind from east to west across Palm Beach County and the Treasure Coast. Moderate to heavy rain now soaking the area from Jupiter all the way down I-95 to Lake Worth Beach to Delray, down to the Boca Raton area, as far west as figure 441. We're looking at central Palm Beach County, Wellington, West Palm Beach, Lake Worth Beach, rainfall about 15 miles inland from the coast. Here's North County, those of you in the Gardens in Jupiter and also out up towards the Beeline Highway, up towards Pratt and Whitney, getting some light to moderate rain as well. Treasure Coast, no different. Those rain bands feeding in quickly from east-northeast to west-southwest. Hope Sound, Stewart, Fort Pierce. Man, that rain's coming down tonight, isn't it? Here's a look at Indian River County. Heavy rain bands continue to come in over US 1, I-95, and as far west as the western part of Indian River County. Not a lot going on right now over the Okeechobee County area. So we are looking overnight tonight at the potential for some severe weather. There is a possibility of scale 2 on a scale of 1 to 5 of severity, and that will be most likely from Fort Pierce north. The potential for some scattered severe weather activity out there. Regardless, we're all going to get that heavy rainfall with impacts, flooding, strong wind gusts, and the potential, again, for those isolated tornadoes. And a quick history shows that most landfalling tropical cyclones have either EF0s or EF1 tornadoes associated with them. Those are winds no more than about 70 or 80 miles an hour. Really strong tornadoes really don't occur all that much with landfalling storms. They're usually quick-lived. And a quick reminder about the deaths from hurricanes, just about 3/4 of the deaths from hurricanes occur from storm surge flooding, which is half, and rain, fresh water, which is 27%. So you do need to watch that storm surge and the flooding that occurs. And about 15 to 20% of the properties in our area in the yellow are in danger or risk of some substantial flood risk. We're all under that flood watch, Boca up to the Vero Beach area, out to Okeechobee County. Now, we've had some rain so far. Additional rainfall in Palm Beach County, according to our frequently updating IBM graph model, is mostly about 1 inch or 2 for Palm Beach County. Additional rainfall, St. Lucie County into northern Okeechobee County, still in the red, which would be about 3 to 4, perhaps 5 inches. And that's going to be along and north of the center or that passes over the coast. So once you get north of the center, that's where the strongest winds and rain will be. Here's that hour-by-hour forecast showing bands of rain continue to circulate in through 9 o'clock. There's a look at the midnight hour. Here's a look at the storm center moving onshore. Our model here, the short-range model, still predicts and thinks that it'll be further north than what the Hurricane Center is thinking out there. So there's a little bit of, uncertainty about it. But the bottom line is the landfall most likely somewhere along the Treasure Coast. Here's 6 o'clock in the morning. Most of the rain is gone in Palm Beach County. We go ahead to 9 a.m. It still stays dry, maybe some breaks of sun across Palm Beach County. The heavy rain just about ending for the Treasure Coast. And then tomorrow afternoon, we could see a few more pop-up downpours developing in the heat of the day for the afternoon and the evening hours. Storm surge warning in effect for all areas along the coast, Sebastian down to the Boca Raton vicinity. What this means is that life-threatening ocean flooding is possible in the next 36 hours. You want to take all necessary action to protect life and property from rising water. And it looks like the storm surge, a little hard to see there in the blue, right along the coast near the Intracoastal and Barrier Islands, 2 to 3 feet for South and North Palm Beach County. And along the Treasure Coast, you can see some yellow popping up there in the Barrier Islands from Fort Pierce down to the Stewart area. The storm surge due to wind pushing against the water. Normally we see the sea level here, but as you go higher, there's a look at what 3 feet of storm surge can do, getting up pretty close to some houses. And again, St. Lucie, Indian River, we're expecting 3 to 5 foot storm surge, and this can come into some low-lying homes out there and basements. So yeah, obviously storm surge will be a big issue across the area. Fortunately, we're not going to be getting these ridiculously high storm surges like they got with Ian over in the southwest Florida coast back in October. And during the times of high tide, this is when the worst coastal flooding will occur, and that's only going to be in about an hour and a half from now, 8:34 tonight. By the time tomorrow's high tide occurs, the system will be onshore and the winds will be offshore. So even though it will be windy, I think that the storm surge flooding will be reduced because, again, the wind will be offshore. Right now, though, it's onshore. And these tides exacerbated by the full moon and the king tides exerting more of a gravitational pull on the water. water, the interaction between the sun, moon, and earth. When they're aligned this time of year, you do get usually high tides anyway, and those waves can be up to 13 to 18 feet. So here a look at those specific updated impacts. Overnight tonight, for those of you in Palm Beach County, peak wind gusts 55 to 65. Rainfall 1 to 3 inches, storm surge at 2 to 4 feet. Martin County, winds could gust to 70 to 75 late tonight, early Thursday morning with 4 to 6 total inches of rain. Remember, we had an inch or two already, a 3 to 5 foot storm surge. St. Lucie County, winds 70 to 75 and gusts 4 to 6. And those of you in Indian River County, you'll be just north of that storm center. You'll be in the eye wall. So those winds again could gust to hurricane force, which is 74 or higher, with a rainfall at 3 to 5 inches. And finally, in Okeechobee County, wind gusts 60 to 70 with rainfall at 3 to 5 inches. Again, that's in the Okeechobee County vicinity. Here are some of the wind gusts we've had today so far. At the Juno Beach Pier, already up to 62, 58 there at the House of Refuge, that's near Stewart, Port St. Lucie 55, and still so far in Palm Beach International at 39-mile-an-hour wind gusts. And we're still seeing winds mostly gusting under tropical storm force, getting higher though late tonight and early tomorrow morning. Back to Liz and Jim.
Thanks, Michael. The last time we checked in with our Mike Magnoli, he was in Juno Beach showing us the rough surf there and the eroding sand. Now he's moved to Palm Beach Gardens to tell us how things are there. Mike?
Hey there, Liz. Yeah, we are at the marina area off of PGA and Prosperity Farms for a point of reference, and this is a spot where a lot of folks know there are some restaurants, there are some marinas, there are houses on the water. What I want to show you here is the intercoastal. You can see the water is rising, sloshing around down there, coming up towards this dock. Fast forward a couple of hours from now and into tomorrow, is this going to be completely submerged? Is this dock going to be here tomorrow? Time will tell. We're going to have to see. But this is what you've been hearing our meteorologists talking about. And also behind me there, the drawbridge, we're starting to see a lot less traffic now. That means that people are heeding the warnings and doing what officials are telling them. When I checked in with you last time, I think I mentioned that the Juno Beach Police Department and the Jupiter Police Department were running everybody out. They didn't want any more spectators, so we have seen a lot less traffic on the road. It's been a while since we've gotten a big blast of rain, but keep in mind where we are now, not as close to the ocean and where the storm is coming from as when the last time I checked in with you. But we'll be checking in with you periodically over the course of the night. For now, live in Palm Beach Gardens, I'm Mike Magnoli. Back to you.
All right, our Lily Ortiz is in the studio tonight. She's been monitoring the latest on social media. She's joining us with what she's found. Lily?
All right, good evening, Liz and Jim. Yeah, this is what I found. This is from Gary Dedman, who works with us. He posted this video of Riviera Beach Police. They are blocking the Blue Heron Bridge entrance to Singer Island. Again, this area is closed right now. Only residents are allowed to go in and out. So that's what we see right now. Riviera Beach Police, they are there just making sure only residents can go in and out. I want to show you this video from Weather Nation, our partners over there. This is from earlier today in the Melbourne area. I just wanted to show you when, these drivers just driving here and the wind gusts causing this power flash. Take a look here. Hopefully we could show that to you. There it is, that power flash due to that wind gusts picking up. And again, like Michael mentioned moments ago, we do expect those wind gusts to get stronger through the night. So this is just something that we could see in our area. Now this one, Delray Beach Fire Rescue, they posted this earlier. One of their captains here walking down a flooded street. That was earlier today in Delray Beach, Palm Beach County, reminding residents that there is a mandatory evacuation underway for zones A and B, and that includes the Barrier Islands and other areas just east of Federal in the Delray Beach area. PBSO sharing this right here. These are the hurricane evacuation shelters in Palm Beach County. Here's a list right here. We have been talking about this all morning. Just some of them right here: Independence Middle School in Jupiter, Palm Beach Gardens High School, Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune, that's in Riviera Beach. This one right here is the pet-friendly one that's in Lake Worth, West Boynton Recreation Center in Lake Worth, and Pahokee Middle School is also one out west. And I want to show you this picture. This is great to see. This is our nurses at some of those shelters right now, including Lakeshore Middle School, Pahokee Middle School, providing first aid to those who are staying over there. All right, Liz and Jen.
All right, thanks, Lily. Well, take a look at this. This is the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. They shared this video on Twitter today. Hurricane hunters, they are out and about gathering the latest on Nicole. They use weather balloons and, of course, aircraft like this to gather that information. And, of course, we're able to relay that back to you. But right now, what was Tropical Storm Nicole earlier in the day has now been upgraded to a hurricane, and they are getting the latest data on that. They'll be running those tomorrow as well.
Let's take a look in Fort Pierce, where you can see heavy rain coming down as we've been reporting all day and all evening long. Conditions are deteriorating. The floodwaters are rising. The surf is rough, and the winds are picking up as the hurricane approaches our coastline. And in Okeechobee County, we want to remind you that a curfew is going into effect starting at 9 p.m. That goes through the morning hours till 7 a.m. And during that time, officials say it's going to be unsafe for you to be on the roadways, as we've been showing you, because of the flooding. There might be flying debris with those high winds kicking up, fallen trees, which we've already seen, and fallen power lines, which we have already seen. The curfew will be strictly enforced within the county and city limits of Okeechobee County.
Yeah, just a minute ago, Lily showed us some pictures of law enforcement. They are out in force. Mike Magnoli over in Juneau Beach earlier tonight. They've already cordoned off some of the beach access points. You're going to see a lot of police officers and deputies out and about throughout the evening. That should make you feel good if you've evacuated from your home. You want to make sure it's safe. But on the other hand, you've got a lot of those officers who are out there on the front lines tonight, and they're going to weather this storm in their police cruisers. And you always got to keep those people in mind. So they are doing a yeoman's job tonight for us to make sure we're safe.
And they're going to be doing that out on the street as long as it's safe for them to do so. And they keep reminding us that at some point they won't be able to get to you. So hopefully you are hunkered down in a shelter or at home, safe and sound. We'll be right back.
The Black Friday sale starts now at BrandSmart USA. This amount 25 cubic foot side-by-side refrigerator is now only $999.88. Or this LG 55-inch 4K smart TV for a low $328.88. The Black Friday sale starts now at BrandSmart USA.
And now one of the greatest love stories of all time. Dirty Dancing in concert.
At United Vein Centers, our minimally invasive treatments for vein disease will have you back on your feet again, pain-free, with legs that'll feel like new. The treatments are covered by Medicare and most health insurance. Call us today to schedule your free vein screening at one of our locations.
The Black Friday sale starts now at BrandSmart USA. This Samsung microwave and range pair is now only $799.76. Or this Philips 75-inch 4K Android smart TV for a low $548.88. The Black Friday sale starts now at BrandSmart USA.
Download the CBS 12 News Storm Track weather app.
Welcome back, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm Liz Quirantes.
I'm Jim Grimes. We continue tracking Hurricane Nicole as it edges even closer to our coast.
We have live team coverage from the Treasure Coast to Palm Beach County. But first, let's get straight over to Chief Meteorologist Vetus Reed with where Nicole is right now.
Yeah, the storm continues to gather some strength and is moving through the Bahamas right now. A well-defined eye that is formed over Grand Bahama Island. It's relatively quiet there because usually in the center of that eye you have no wind that's going on. Just very calm. You could probably see the stars, but we're talking about an eye that's been trying to form as it's moving west over the western portion of that island. And it looks like we'll continue to see it wrapping in those rain bands as we go through the next several hours. And it'll continue to deteriorate as far as our conditions are concerned. Looking at the advisory, 7 p.m., moving west at 13 miles per hour. 75-mile-per-hour winds gusting up to 85. Our central pressure is at 980 millibars. That means that storm is tightening up and it's going to continue to move our direction, picking up that speed a little bit. And that steam. So you can see that center of circulation wrapping in those outer bands. We'll continue to see those bands bringing us some waves of showers, some heavier rain. That's going to start adding up and creating more flooding across our area. Then the winds are also going to be picking up. Sometimes before that band comes in, we get a big gust of wind as well. So you start hearing those palms really whipping around out there. Category 1 expected to make landfall along the Treasure Coast. We're looking at overnight tonight, around 1 o'clock in the morning till about 3, somewhere in that range. We're going to probably have that landfall. Now remember, it's not just this one line. That's a pretty pretty big eye. And on the north side of it, you're going to have the worst winds. On the south side of it will be lesser winds, but still significant effects. So we're talking about on the north side, some strong wind gusts, potentially along Martin County, St. Lucie County up into Indian River, northeastern portions of Palm Beach County, all included in the potential. So it looks like it'll wrap around a Big Bend region of the state, heading up into southern portions of Georgia, kind of fizzling out, becoming extratropical low, and dropping some rain in the upper mountains of western portions of the Carolinas. The models are pretty much in agreement. As far as that landfall, we're looking pretty confident as it continues to move closer. Now, of course, it can go a little further north, a little further south, but we're talking generally in the Treasure Coast area, and it's going to have effects over our entire region of our viewing area. So we're looking at Category 1 status, 74 to 95 mile per hour winds, some shingles, gutters, and vinyl siding damage. Large branches snap, and some trees become uprooted. That can take down power lines. We're talking about falling on rooftops, also cars. Power outages could last for days, so that's something to be noted. We do have that rain coming down across parts of Palm Beach County. You can see airport is shut down right now. We have the warnings stretching from Brevard County through Indian River, St. Lucie County, Martin County, and eastern portions of the county of Palm Beach County. We're looking at areas along 441 East. You ask yourself why? Well, it's mostly populated in those areas. You have a higher potential for more damage, more people, and so that is much more infrastructure to deal with as far as the warning is concerned. It gets much more less populated west of Wellington. So those are under tropical storm warnings for the orange colored areas around Lake O and up into Okeechobee County and areas west of that. As far as the radar, you can see it wrapping in. We're seeing those rain bands, and it's starting to pick up around Vero Beach. We'll see along portions of Palm Beach County, West Palm. We'll continue to see Vero Beach, some heavy downpours of rain. Stewart, Hope Sound, definitely we're going to get that rain coming down at a pretty good pace. I'm going to send it over to meteorologist Michael Ehrenberg with more details on what we can get from some of the flooding, storm surge, and what we can see from some of the winds.
Yeah, Vitas, we're also covering what the hurricane hunters have been doing. They've been flying their planes in nonstop over the last 24 to 48 hours. Last stop aloft showing a 90-mile-an-hour wind, but that has to be adjusted down to the surface, which is 75. Now, there's several different aircraft that the hurricane hunters use. One of them is the WP3D Orion with a wingspan of almost 100 feet. It goes pretty low at 27,000 feet. It flies into the eye of the storm, determining the storm's intensity. The NOAA G4 is a high-altitude jet, wingspan a little lower, but it goes up to 45,000 feet, and this goes around the high-altitude periphery, sampling the environment. And the Air Force C-130 flies at 33,000 feet, flies right into the storm, determining the storm's intensity. And you might ask, well, how do these things not crash when they go into all these changing winds? Well, they have a careful pattern that they fly. First off, we have the delta pattern. Hurricane hunters will fly against the wind until a wind shift is observed. The aircraft will turn to pass through the center until another wind shift is observed. And then finally, they fly against the wind into the fourth quadrant to survey. Another pattern that the hurricane hunters use is what's called the box pattern, where the hurricane hunters will fly their plane around the center of the storm, not through it. Their track will resemble a box or a square over time, and this pattern is mostly used to survey outer bands and wind radius, not so much intensity, and they're always dropping these drop zones through the bottom of the aircraft, which sends back temperature, pressure, and humidity levels. That goes into the computer models to make them more accurate to give us a better track. Meanwhile, we've seen some pretty high wind gusts today. Juno Beach Pier at 62, 58 for the House of Refuge, 55 for Port St. Lucie, and officially at the airports, not that much, but those wind gusts will be going up through the evening hours. As of last check, sustained winds of 20 gusting to 33 in West Palm, a gust of 30 in Vero and 31 there in the Fort Pierce vicinity. A Hurricane Center still seems to think a very low chance for hurricane force winds, only 10% or less even on the Treasure Coast, but a 100% chance of tropical storm force winds. That's winds 39 miles an hour to 73. This can cause some isolated power outages. Here's 8:39 tonight, our power outage index in the yellow. Some parts of the area getting power outages, more widespread across parts of Indian River County through a little bit after midnight. That's when you'll get the highest and strongest winds. And then that power outage possibility leaves as the winds die down towards tomorrow morning. Here's a look at a graphic which shows the low-end tropical storm force winds and then the high-end tropical storm force winds, and then red the hurricane force winds. So winds of 74 or higher, mostly in gusts, would be likely from areas from about the St. Lucie Inlet through the Fort Pierce Inlet up to Vero Beach. Palm Beach County, 58 or less, that is it. But once you get into the Treasure Coast, those winds go higher, and that gives you a better chance chance for damage and also that higher chance for power outages. And then the tropical storm force winds will be leaving just about all the area by about mid-morning, it looks like. So tomorrow, we'll be looking at a steady improving trend. Here's a look at a model which shows wind gusts hour by hour, town by town. 50s on the Treasure Coast by 8 o'clock tonight. We see winds in the Palm Beaches, still mostly 45 to 55 in gusts. There's a look at 11 o'clock tonight. And then here are those gusts up to 61 in Vero, and briefly in there, we did see a wind gust up to 75. By tomorrow morning, when you wake up and head out the door, if you're up early, winds will be southerly. The storm will be by us. Winds will be down into the 30 or mile or less range in Palm Beach County, but still gusting into the 40s, Fort Pierce to Vero Beach. We go through the day, winds continue to come down, 20s for Palm Beach County at 10 a.m., 30s and 40s for the Treasure Coast. And then we see those winds gradually dying down during the day. But most of tomorrow will be very windy, if not on the breezy side. And you can see regarding Hurricane Nicole that the models have peaked the system at 75 miles an hour. It's going to make landfall in 6 hours. So it could intensify a little bit more. Some models bring it a little higher. And then once it makes landfall, it rapidly decreases in intensity later tomorrow night and on into your Friday. Again, it continues to bring a lot of rain into the area. There is the center clearly visible on the radar over Grand Bahama Island, but that counterclockwise flow will rotate now more steady, heavy, persistent rain into the area overnight tonight. You can see the yellow from Vero to Fort Pierce to Stewart to Delray Beach. These are tropical downpours where the winds, again, are gusting pretty high. Another big band offshore about ready to come onto the coast. So from Lake Worth down to Delray to Boca, moderate to heavy rain now up and down US 1 and also I-95. We see heavy rain from Lake Worth Beach to West Palm to Wellington, up into the Jupiter area, or at least west of town. And then on the Treasure Coast, Martin and St. Lucie County, we've got this band coming in with moderate to heavy rain. Another band offshore likely to rotate in within the next hour or hour and a half. And then we take a look at Indian River County, and we see more bands coming in for you. Okeechobee County, some heavy rain working its way into Cypress Quarters and Eagle Island. Not much going on in Okeechobee County, but some of that rain will be coming your way as we go on through the next several hours, it looks like. The winds, again, with Nicole have been pretty much 70 miles an hour, below hurricane status, but again, that latest update at 6 o'clock tonight did boost it up to hurricane status at 75 miles an hour. Now, we are looking at the potential for some severe weather as the system makes landfall, especially in the northeast quadrant. We're talking Stewart North. You have the best chance for some tornadic activity, and that better chance, again, will be north of the storm track making landfall because of the wind shear involved with it. So, again, overnight tonight, the chance for some isolated tornadoes, heavy rain, flooding, strong wind gusts. Again, also the continued threats across the area. And speaking of tornadoes, good thing here is most landfalling tropical cyclones have tornadoes of EF0, 49%, and that's winds no more than 65 miles an hour. EF1 tornadoes, the next level up to about 65 to 90 miles an hour, 32%. Now, keep in mind, with Ian so far away from us, that was a stronger storm. We had an EF2 in Delray Beach, so not out of the possibility, although, again, those stronger tornadoes are much less frequent with landfalling tornadic activity. And here's a little bit of an interesting chart here. Most of the storm deaths, 3/4, occur due to storm surge or rainfall. It's the water and not the wind, which is only 8%, that does cause the fatalities when it comes to hurricane activity. And you can see as far as Florida properties are concerned, about 21% of Florida properties have substantial flood risk. And we're talking about risk from the rising water out there. So along the coast, it's a good idea for evacuation out there. Flood watch in effect for just about all areas across the region. Additional rainfall, you'll notice there in the orange and red, anywhere from 3 to 4 inches, even up to 5 across parts of Okeechobee County because you haven't had much rain yet. Palm Beach County, just an additional, you'll notice 0.5 to 1.5 inches of rain. So widespread flooding, I don't think it's going to be that likely for Palm Beach County. Here's a look at that hour by hour, the graph model indicating the rain bands coming into the area. Here's a look at overnight tonight. And you saw that on radar. We continue to see them slap through the area. It might rain for a while. You get a brief break where the winds and rain are light, and then more rain bands come in. There's a look at midnight. We look at 3 a.m. We continue to see shower and thunderstorm activity coming into the area. There's a look at Vero Beach. There's a look at the center. Now, this model shows landfall further north in the hurricane center. So there is a little bit of discrepancy. Hurricane center has the track further south, and we really want to emphasize that's what we want to go with. The track which is near the St. Lucie or Martin County coastal waters. This track is a little further north, but regardless, we're all getting the wind, we're all getting the rain. But the chance for hurricane force winds and the tornadic threat is mostly St. Lucie and Indian River County, and that again is along and north of where Nicole makes landfall a little bit after midnight tonight. And then tomorrow afternoon, we'll be looking at breaks of sunshine with maybe some downpours and showers popping up through the mid to late part of the day. Storm surge warning continues for all areas, Boca up to West Palm, the Jupiter to the Sebastian area. The storm surge warning means that life-threatening ocean flooding is possible in the next 36 hours. Hopefully you've taken all the necessary action to protect life and property from rising water. I know most people have not evacuated with this. We showed that mayor earlier there on Palm Beach Shores, and that's because the water is not going to rise too bad. 2 to 3 foot storm surge right along the barrier islands for South Palm Beach County. Similar surge in north parts of Palm Beach County. Now it's along the Treasure Coast. Again, you might notice a little bit of yellow popping up in Hutchinson Island from Stewart up to Fort Pierce, where that storm surge could be 3 to 4 feet, and that can cause some inundation of parking lots and areas, homes and businesses that are right along the water. Some water could come into the first floors out there. And again, that storm surge is due to the wind pushing against the water. Normally, there's your sea level. In this graphic, here's a look at a 3 foot storm surge. And we do see, once again, it comes up the beach. And here's a look at that 6 feet, which could be northern Treasure Coast, where we do see, again, some areas, some first floors being inundated. So again, that storm surge warning in effect for all areas. Back to you two.
All right, Michael, thank you. We have some live reports coming up right after the break.
The future of Florida decided.
We made promises to the people of Florida, and we have delivered.
From the campaign trail to the ballot box, CBS 12 News. One team covered it every step of the way.
And today is your chance to have your vote count and your voice heard.
Informative.
We have team coverage tonight on all of the major races.
Accurate. On air and online. CBS 12 News. Eye on Politics.
Well, hello, Winn-Dixie. Delivery. Right along. Shotgun.
Okay.
Winn-Dixie delivery in as quick as 2 hours. Over. At the same great in-store prices. Over.
That was quick. They just really love great prices.
Win-win twins for the delivery win.
Steiner, Green & Finer has won big for their clients.
$475,000. I love my attorney.
$610,000.
I love my attorney.
$1 million and more.
I love my attorney.
They show their clients the love by showing them the money.
And their clients are loving them back.
After your car accident, don't settle for the minimum. Let us fight for a settlement that you'll love.
800-561-1111. 800-561-1111.
Welcome back, everyone, to continuous coverage of Hurricane Nicole as it approaches our coastline.
It has been a soggy night for Al Peffley. He's joining us again live in Fort Pierce this evening. And Al, last time we saw you, you were blowing around out there by the marina. What's going on tonight? Where are you?
Well, we're also still at the Fort Pierce City Marina, but we're at a slightly different location, Jim. We're right in front of this restaurant, Krabby's, as you can see behind me. Obviously, it is closed. We checked. But this is a spot where you can see a lot of the boats that are tied up here at the marina. And perhaps, even though the rain is very, very strong right now and the wind is just howling, my photographer is going to show you some of the boats. We checked and found that there are a few people living on boats out here who told us earlier, a lady told me earlier, they moved here from Nebraska, she said, about a year ago. And they now live on a boat. And she said they think it's pretty fine, pretty safe to be out here tonight. Not too worried. In fact, they were going to have a hurricane party along with a couple of the other boaters who live on nearby boats. They're all going to get together, and she said they're going to have some tacos tonight and welcome Hurricane Nicole to this area. We'll switch around this way and show you. This is downtown Fort Pierce over here. It is a ghost town. It is utterly deserted. We did find one restaurant open nearby, but otherwise the place is just a ghost town, nobody around. We've seen some police vehicles around here, basically, I guess looking to see if anybody's around here, but frankly, nobody's out here right now. But the wind has been picking up, the rain has been picking up. We haven't seen any flooding here in Fort Pierce and around the city marina. We've been looking for that. I know it's been an issue in other places, but we haven't seen that happening here so far. It's just been a lot of rain, a lot of wind. As I mentioned in an earlier report, we were out on Hutchinson Island earlier tonight before the sun went down, and it was a wild, wild place. The wind was much, much stronger out there. I saw a guy on a wave runner, a jet ski, who was in the Fort Pierce Inlet just bouncing around out there. It looked like he was having a good time. I guess, though, if something had went wrong, if he had ended up in the water, there would have been no one to save him out there, so he was basically on his own. But again, a lot of people, I guess, staying indoors, which is the right thing to do on a night like this. No reason really to be out here. We have seen a few people kind of walking around. Once in a while, I've seen a guy walking his dog. I saw a man riding a bicycle through this rain. But otherwise, everybody, I think, is playing it safe and is staying indoors. Back to you.
All right, Al, we were going to ask, I know you've been out there throughout the evening tonight. Can you get a sense that it's strengthening, at least the wind itself?
I would say so, yes, yes. You know, it's not constant, though, Jim. We'll get a strong gust where, you know, it kind of sends you, it's not strong enough to knock you over. I'll be honest about that. It's not that strong to knock you over. But from time to time, you will get a gust that causes you to lose your balance for a minute. Otherwise, you know, it comes and goes. From time to time, we'll get a gust, and then it's fairly calm, and then it's quite blustery again. So the wind changes constantly, and you just kind of have to be ready for whatever happens.
All right, either way, play it safe out there, and we'll be checking in with...
On my left, we just see some... I was just going to point out, there you see some people walking around out here, I guess, coming to check out the scenery. These guys are headed basically for the water's edge. We're right on the Indian River here on the at the Fort Pierce City Marina. So that's where all the boats are tied up. We're a long way from the ocean. That would be across the bridge over there on Hutchinson Island. But here on the Indian River, it's hazardous enough.
All right. Well, as I said, play it safe. We'll be checking in with you in a little while. Thanks again, Lau.
Let's check in now with our Luli Ortiz, who is monitoring social media. Luli.
Hey, Liz and Jim, good evening. Yeah, FPL, I told you about 30 minutes ago that FPL is urging customers that to be prepared for power outages. This is something that they tweeted moments ago. Keep away from standing water. They do expect the down power lines. They expect flooding, debris, and are warning people that it can be dangerous. So again, we are monitoring the power outages right now. It has gone up. I want to go pull that up from the website here. I want to refresh here. Ooh, excuse me. Let me just backspace here, and I want to refresh this page because we are seeing an increase of the customers without power right now. Palm Beach County now has 4,100 customers without power. In Martin County, 90. In St. Lucie, 534. And in Indian River, it's gone up within the last 30 minutes, more than 2,000 customers without power at this time. Again, Florida Power and Light saying that they have about 13,000 crew members just on the ready to work, ready to respond when it is safe. We are tracking some traffic alerts right now. I want to pull this up. Now, FDOT, they are saying that there's a crash in Palm Beach County right now on the Florida Turnpike. It says mile marker 112. This is in the Palm Beach Gardens area, and all lanes are closed. But again, officials are reminding people to stay off the roads if you can, as the wind gusts are getting stronger. It could be dangerous, and stay home if possible. Liz and Jim.
All right, Luli, thanks so much for that update. We're going to have more live reports and a look at the radar when we come back after the break.
Chevy Silverado. It's got the power you want and the capability you need to do the job, so you can get to the important work. Find new moments, find new roads. Get $1,500 total cash allowance on all 2022 Silverado pickups with a 2.7-liter turbo engine. Plus, unlock your code to claim $500 Chevy Cybercash. Visit ChevyCybercash.com today.
I would describe myself as a fighter. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. I fight the powerful for the powerless, and our results speak for themselves. We have recovered billions of dollars for our clients. If you want a fighter,
You can count on me. There's only one Morgan & Morgan.
The small business needs the most from every investment, and Comcast Business gives you more. More innovation with our new gig speed Wi-Fi, plus unlimited data. More speed from the largest, fastest, reliable network. And more savings when you add Comcast Business Mobile.
Simplicity and savings, all from one provider. Get started with internet and advanced security for $40 a month for 12 months with no annual contract when you add Comcast Business Mobile. Plus, ask how to get up to a $750 prepaid card with a qualifying gig bundle.
It seems like places are giving you less and less food these days.
Yes, Mama, it's called shrinkflation. Oh, shrinkflation is just another word for robbery. But this is shackflation. What? Dang, that's huge. Extra pepperoni, extra cheese on that thing.
At Lionel Ryder Smith Ivy and Frauenrath, we know that most of us will experience some disaster in our lives. If you're the victim of an accident,
medical malpractice, or had a family member suffer abuse in a nursing home,
we can help. Our board-certified trial lawyers have over 250 years in combined legal experience, and we aren't afraid to take on the insurance companies.
When disaster strikes, remember, in the courtroom or in the community, Lytle, Ryder, Smith, Ivy, and Frauenrath, foryourrights.com.
Download the CBS 12 News Storm Track weather app.
Welcome back to continuous coverage of Hurricane Nicole.
Yeah, our John Evanson is joining us tonight. He's over in Palm Beach Island. And John, we haven't really seen what's going on over there tonight. Maybe you can show us some of what's happening.
I will, yeah. I'll give you a better idea as to exactly where I am. You can tell by the beautiful background here. One of the nicest views of West Palm Beach there is. Flagler Museum is right over on this side. And of course, you may have been on the bike path, the walking path that goes from Flagler down to the Okeechobee Bridge right there. Well, it's no walking path tonight. Things like this are just floating by. As you can see, I'm knee deep in water. As far as we've walked, it looks like it's like that along the entire way. There's big items like this palm frond just being swept down the river there. So as you can tell, it's not the safest place to be right now. Normally, you'd come out here, as I have many times, and you could stand on this edge here, this concrete edge, and you look down, and it's a distance that you would not want to really even jump. Right now, it's absolutely level. The walkway is level. You can see the waves coming in here as it continues to go up, as it has been. And I can tell you that firsthand because I just got some water down my boot. So that's going to be comfortable for the rest of the night. So that's rising the water here. And we're not even quite at high tide yet. So if you can imagine how high this water could get, this is a backyard right here of one of the beautiful houses down here. And if it gets much higher, it's going to be going into these backyards of these homes, hopefully not high enough that it could get into the homes themselves, but certainly something that everyone has to watch out for. That's why the mandatory evacuations are in effect here. But I can tell you firsthand, this is high tide, and it's not even high tide yet. So be careful out there. Certainly this pathway, I don't know if you could see, I swear I saw a fish go by earlier on, right by me. I can't confirm that. It could have been a blade of grass, but certainly weird times here tonight just beside Flagler Museum. I'll send it back to you guys, and I'll go search for more flooding and anything else to share with you guys moving forward tonight.
So, John, you're on the intracoastal. That's intracoastal water that is possibly flooding those homes, right?
Yes.
Okay. And we're about an hour away from high tide, and we had a full moon last night. So that is why it's extra flooded there.
You know what I was going to say, even maybe hang out a little bit over there to see what's going to happen. There's some businesses not too far from the intercoastal there, right over by the bridge. I just wonder if any of them has been damaged by flood water. Okay. But, most of that area is elevated, so hopefully everybody there is okay.
All right, John, thank you. And we will have another live shot from Jensen Beach coming up after the break.
On December 31st, one lucky homeowner is going to win up to $25,000 in new impact windows from Storm-Tight Windows, and it could be you. It's easy. Just text the word at the bottom of your screen to 373737. Text now.
Little things are what we live for. Little things bring us joy. And little things inspire big breakthroughs. At Florida Cancer Specialists, our advanced treatment plans are as unique as you, and our top-ranked cancer experts are close to home. We take care of all the big things, so you can focus on all the little ones, every step of the way.
$5 Whopper, crispy large fries. Fries in the Whopper, $5, no lies. A Whopper and fries, a $5 still. Said it 3 times to make sure it's real. BK, have it your way.
Hi, honey.
Hey, Mom. How's it going? Did Nana's stuffing have rosemary or thyme?
Both.
Yeah, both, of course.
Oh, you found them.
Yeah, I got it.
Let me see it.
Okay.
Like it, sure.
Really?
Hello again.
Is it 300 or 350?
350.
We
had the best time.
Look. I'm just letting it cool for a few minutes.
How's everything going there?
It's a little quiet, just me and Dad.
We miss you. I think it was you who ate the pie, dear.
I did not. Dad was there. Ask him. Oh, I gotta go, Mom.
Okay, honey,
Love
bye.
you. Bye.
Hasn't she made that stuffing like 1,000,000 times before?
Vinyl flooring is luxurious and soft underfoot. Right now at National Floors Direct, get an entire room of luxury vinyl flooring installed the next day for just $788 and no interest for 1 year. Call 888-400-FLOOR. We'll bring the store to your door.
On December 31st, one lucky homeowner is going to win up to $25,000 in new impact windows from Storm-Tight Windows, and it could be you. It's easy. Just text the word at the bottom of your screen to 373737. Text now.
Welcome back. You're watching CBS 12's extended coverage of Hurricane Nicole.
Let's send it over now to CBS 12's Victoria DeCardenas. She is in Jensen Beach. And Victoria, are you on the causeway?
Jim and Liz, we're actually underneath the causeway right now, and I guess this is just a wind tunnel that's happening right now. We want to show you what it looks like here on the waterway as well. Those waves really picking up since the last time I checked in with you guys. We were over by Shrimpers earlier today, and now we made it here on the causeway, and you can see those waves have really picked up. That wind has seriously picked up ever since Nicole has been upgraded to a hurricane. Since the last time we checked in, we went to the Martin County Sheriff's Office where they're offering some advice to officers who just came in, rather the deputies that just came in for their shift change. They're telling everyone to stay inside, and if you see people, get inside. They do have shelters open for people who are looking to, in case if they're further inland. They've got ones for friendly. We've also got ones that are meant for those who have some special needs, and we have some generic ones as well. I know we've listed them on our website at cbs12.com, but the conditions have really worsened throughout the last few hours. We have seen some people out here. We are recommending
Victoria, her microphone, obviously, these wet conditions, not ideal for that ENG equipment, but
this is a great live shot.
Amazing footage out there. You see just how strong that wind is getting. And this is really progressing. It's been interesting to watch. Earlier today, we saw them just kind of blowing around, but that was some serious wind gust right there. So we're going to see this throughout the evening as we head closer to that storm making landfall. And, of course, we're going to check in with our Storm Track team here in a minute on the latest there, but also more pictures to show you.
Yes, this is from our Live Storms media partners. This is from the Melbourne area. Winds are continuing to pick up there. Surf very high, as you can see the waves splashing against the seawall there in the Indian River Lagoon. And we are getting reports of some boats overturned as well. Wow, look at that.
That's amazing, yeah. Stay with us. We'll have much more right after this.
It's the Rooms to Go holiday sale. Add a pop of color to your home with this stylish sofa and love seat set. On sale, just $9.99 or $17 a month interest-free. Choose your color and save at the Rooms to Go holiday sale.
At huge law firms, you're just a number. At Cersei Denny, you're a neighbor.
Thanks, Mariana.
Thank you. We're a local firm committed to providing exceptional personal service, and you will never pay a penny until we recover money for you.
Tattoo Studio Gel Pencil Liner from Maybelline, New York. Show up bold, wherever you go. Smudge resistant. Waterproof. Up to 36-hour wear. Tattoo Studio Gel Pencil, Maybelline, New York.
Newest thing from Pizza Hut isn't pizza at all. It's cheesy, so crispy, loaded with toppings, and just $6.99. Enough for two, price for one. New Pizza Hut melts, just $6.99.
I be like, now, when you order delivery at littlecaesars.com, you'll pay $0 in fees. No delivery fees, hidden fees, or service fees. Yes, please. Get the lowest priced pizza delivered at Little Caesars.
Pizza.
It's the Rooms to Go holiday sale. Save big on this beautiful 5-piece dining room with table and 4 side chairs. On sale, just $12.99 or $22 a month interest-free. In your choice of finish during the Rooms to Go holiday sale.
Download the CBS 12 News Storm Track weather app.
Welcome back, everyone. You're watching our extended coverage of Hurricane Nicole, and lots to talk about.
Let's check with our Lena Salzbank. She is in Stewart. Lena, last time we checked with you, you were at Sandsprit Park. Where are you now?
We are still at Sandsprit Park, just the other side of the park. We were showing you where the piers were earlier, and there are obviously a lot of harsh waves crashing into those piers. We happen to notice some younger kids running out onto those piers, and I would highly urge against that because those piers are not stable right now. But here we are on the other side of Sandsprit Park. This is the boating ramp, and what's shocking to me is it's actually really hard to see where the water starts and, you know, where the ramp begins and the road begins. You can see there's that little lonely boat all by itself over there tied up to the pole. Not sure how that's going to fare in this storm, but just a lot of flooding right now. Take a look at my feet. I don't know if you could really see it. It's definitely past my ankles right now. I don't want to get too deep because obviously my boots only go so high, but there's a lot of flooding going on here right now. The rain just started to pick up again. It was quiet for about 20-30 minutes, but that rain is back up again, and not so windy on this side of the park, but expect it to start getting even windier, even more rain, and even more flooding. So it's best if you can stay home. We're still seeing a lot of cars out on the road, like the one that's driving by right now. And it's just not safe, especially in this area, because if the flooding gets too deep, obviously your car can get stuck. You don't want to walk through that either. So it's best to stay off the roads. Back to you.
All right, Lena, we certainly don't want you to get water in your boots like John Evanson just did. So stay safe and in the lower water, okay?
Stay dry.
I'm almost there. I'm almost there.
All right, no water in the boots.
All right, our chief meteorologist, Vitas Reed, joining us right now. We were talking about the storm surge, Vitas. So you're seeing a lot of the inlets now, the water's rising up, almost level with the sidewalks. We've seen a lot of that. So what are we talking about, 2 feet, 3 feet of
yeah,
storm
it depends
surge?
on where you are, 2 to 4, 3 to 5, the further north you go. We'll kind of give a map out of that. And there's going to be a combination of that storm surge, and also you're getting that coastal flooding that's going to occur, and then the inland flooding. That's we continue to see more heavy rain bands pushing in. So you have high tide that's moving in, so that's also going to help elevate that water a bit as we go through the evening. This is a night shot looking at some of those very ferocious waves moving inland. They will continue to batter the coast and push that water inland, especially some of those inlets north on the Treasure Coast. So we're seeing Hurricane Nicole right now, an eye that's moving over Grand Bahama Island. Freeport right now kind of in the eye, and it's in the quiet zone. We'll continue to see those bands kind of push in over the Treasure Coast, moving in through Palm Beach County. 75 mile per hour winds gusting up to 85 with the latest advisory from the 7 p.m. update. And it looks like this storm will continue to head our direction, giving us some heavy downpours, rain, and those rain bands will give us some dangers from potentially some isolated tornadoes tonight. So we have to watch out for that too. Looking at, once again, it's moving west at 13 miles per hour. The track of the storm, the latest guidance from the National Hurricane Center shows the track in this cone of possibility. Well, it's gotten smaller and shrunk as far as that potential track. And what we're looking at as 1 a.m. to about 3 a.m. in the morning. That's what we're looking at as far as landfall, somewhere along the Treasure Coast. Now, we're talking about also in this cone, though, on the southern tip of it, if it shifted a little bit south, it'd be northeastern portions of Palm Beach County, so up near Jupiter. We have to keep that in the playbook because this thing could still adjust a little bit. So don't lock any of this in. The center line is exactly where it's going. Remember, this is a cone of possibility. It could go a little bit further north or a little bit further south. And remember, it's just not a small storm. It's a vast eye and then the wind field around it. So all of us will probably get some type of impact going through the overnight into early morning. So just be prepared for a Category 1 hurricane. Here's what we're looking for as far as the continued track over Okeechobee County through the central portion of the state, coming up around the Big Bend region of Florida, and then heading up into southern Georgia, and then up into western mountains of the Carolinas, dying out up in that area with some showers and some breezy conditions. The model runs are pretty much in agreement as far as the ones that I'm keeping an eye out. Don't even worry about these. These are just off. These are the ones that we're looking at along the Treasure Coast, pretty much agreeing that that storm will be heading in that path, making a landfall as a Cat 1. And what does that mean? Winds between 74 and 95 mile per hour. That is a Category 1 storm out of 5, though, as far as the tier and levels. So we're going to see significant storm potentials as far as damage. We're looking at some shingles, gutters, and vinyl siding damage that will be most likely to occur up around parts of the Treasure Coast, up around St. Lucie County, Vero Beach, up around Indian River, as well as Martin County, and even in Palm Beach County, because the center of the circulation might be stronger on those areas, does not mean Palm Beach County is not going to have tropical storm force winds or gusts up to 75 to 80. So just be prepared for that. Large branches that could snap, and some trees toppled. As we look at power outages, they could last for hours or days. So that is a very possible thing. Here's a look at PBIA, relatively quiet airport-wise because there's no planes taking off. It's closed down, but we are seeing waves of heavy rain across the airport in Palm Beach County right now and areas north. Hurricane warnings in place from up near Sebastian, Vero Beach, all of these areas included. So we're looking at Brevard County, Indian River, as well as St. Lucie County, Martin County, and eastern portions of Palm Beach County from about 441 over to the coast. Reason being, this is a highly populated area, more impacts with more infrastructure, homes, people, so you're going to have more potential of damage that can occur in these areas. You go further in, we're looking at tropical storm warnings for central and western portions of Palm Beach County, around Lake Okeechobee, Okeechobee County, and west, and that will go through the overnight until tomorrow morning. Now, talking about that rain, here's a look once again from the radar. You can see we do have a lot of circulation with this, and I put the lightning strikes on here because you notice there's not a lot of lightning in the leading edge of this. On the northern tier of it, it seems like there's a lot more lightning that's picking up in some of these bands. These will be the stronger bands that are going to be joining us through the overnight. Okay, so we're going to get after about midnight, and we're looking at a few hours from now. That still has to get here. So this area up here is the area that I'm going to have more concern with, are these thunderstorms that are going to continue to track on the leading edge up on the top. Now, these are going to be picking up the wind. We're going to get some wind gusts with this, but I think the tornado threats will start coming in with this as we get into that after midnight, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. A lot of you folks will be asleep. So you want to keep your alarms on, your alerts on your phone for warnings, as well if you have weather radios, make sure you have those. So we're going to continue to see those bands coming in. We have a pretty good band coming in right now across the Treasure Coast and Palm Beach County, and more heavy rain that's going to then add to those potential several inches that we can get across the area. So look at the radar. It's just full. We're seeing the brighter colors and returns on the radar showing that heavier bands of rain. The brighter red and orange is where we're getting the heaviest downpours. We see some good rain over in Okeechobee, Indiantown, Jupiter, down through West Palm Beach right now, Lake Worth over towards West Delray. So we'll continue to see those showers pour, as we saw in some of our live shots with some of our reporters out there. Here's the threat from the tornado activity as far as what we could see. This is general variety, potential storms. We're looking at a marginal risk, and then you get up towards a slight risk category. This is level 1, level 2. The yellow starting up in mid St. Lucie County, pushing up through to the north, up along the Treasure Coast. So this means you have a little greater chance to see an isolated tornado. The green up through Indiantown, Hope Sound, these areas, even up towards Jupiter, we have a potential for that. But don't count out even down towards Delray. We've already seen that potential of damage that we saw from the previous one that happened in Ian, when we had that EF2 that spawned from that storm. So once again, that spinning action does create those vorticities in that storm. That means a little bit of rotation. And as we see those winds picking up, that threat will increase. Now, the strongest winds will be on the north side of the storm. That means as that core pushes up across the state, we'll see the strongest winds on the northern portion of it. Whatever that is, if it's 75 to 80 mile an hour winds, on the south side, it'll be about 20 mile per hour less. So we're saying about 60 to 70. So definitely this will have the greatest amount of damage potential and storm surge and pushing in on the coast. But this will continue to move across the Treasure Coast. Then on the back edge of it, we start getting some clearing. This is looking at Thursday about 11 o'clock. We're talking about right around lunchtime. We're going to start seeing the winds still breezy out there, but we may even get a few breaks in the clouds through the afternoon, and we start clearing up as we go through the day. But people are going to want to go walk outside and see what happened. I say just give it a moment. Even if you see the sun, there could be power lines down. There could be branches and limbs that are making it dangerous for driving around, especially in the dark. If you don't need to be out, you can't see what's laying across the road. You can't tell the difference of a road or a canal. We don't want to have to worry about people being out in this dangerous condition. So please be indoors. 100% chance for tropical storm force winds. That means winds anywhere all the way up to about 60, 65, up to hurricane strength. We're across our area from Okeechobee all the way down to Treasure Coast, Palm Beach County. So all of our viewing area definitely will see some form of tropical storm force winds or greater up into hurricane winds. So here's that timing. We're looking at that circulation showing 65 mile an hour winds up there, and Fort Pierce is looking at 1:30 in the morning. But of course, we'll see stronger winds ahead of that. Then it moves across the state. As we get into the morning, we start seeing the southerly flow, and then it starts lessening. It'll be breezy as we go through the day, but we'll get the sun coming out, giving us a chance to dry out. Storm surge. We're talking about high tide. We just had a full moon, and then we're in that king tide season and high tide. We're looking at 3 to 5 foot storm surge on top of high tide. So high tide's around 8:30 tonight. So it looks like we will see, as that higher tide comes, we see that water on top of it, and it's going to be pushing in through the evening and overnight. We'll see more inundation of water in those inlets all along the Treasure Coast and all the little rivers as well, if you live in those areas, and then down through Palm Beach County, 2 to 4 foot storm surge possible. So that's something we have to deal with. And then the flood watches that are already out for the entire viewing area, because we will see anywhere from about 3 to 5 up to 6 inches of rain, pockets of 8, and that is very possible with some of those rain bands that will be pushing through. So let's take a look real quick at that rain still to come. Looks like we could see anywhere from maybe 3 to 5 up to 6, maybe 7 inches of rain. Some pockets here you're looking at 4 to 5 inches, 4 to 5 inches Indiantown, Jupiter, West Palm, up towards Vero Beach. So definitely this storm has the impact and potential for pushing in a lot of water, a lot of seawater, a lot of rain that's going to come out of these clouds as it rolls through the area. This is looking at 10:20 a.m. as that storm moves further north and continues to roll out of here. We'll get some clearing from it, and we'll start to get breaks in those clouds. And then by Friday, things will quiet down. So county by county, here's what we're looking at. We're looking at some major effects for Palm Beach County. The worst of the storm will be overnight tonight into the morning. We're looking at wind gusts 55 to 65 plus mile per hour. So that could do damage. We could see 1 to 3 inches, maybe 4 inches of rain in some pockets, maybe 5. Storm surge 2 to 4 feet along the coastal regions. As you move up towards Martin County, we're looking overnight. We're going to see the worst part of the storm. We're seeing 70 to 75 mile an hour winds gusts. So that's sustained could be 50 to 55 to 65. 4 to 6 inches of rainfall. So definitely more impacts as you go further north. 70 to 75 mile an hour winds up in St. Lucie County. 4 to 6 plus inches of rain. 3 to 5 foot storm surge as we get up towards Indian River County. We're going to see overnight the worst times of the storm. 60 to 75 mile an hour winds. We could see gusts up to 80 to 85 possibly. 3 to 5 inches or more of rainfall, 3 to 5 foot storm surge, Okeechobee County, 60 to 70 plus mile an hour winds. That's tropical storm force, almost hurricane. We're looking at 3 to 5 inches. So definitely as far as rainfall, but there will be pockets of more, and some of these areas will see winds that could be greater than this. So there's going to be major impacts with this storm as it moves through. Quick look at your 10-day forecast. Once again, our impacts will be mainly overnight tonight. Landfall 1 to 3 a.m. We're looking at the storm starting to leave the area mid-morning. That means we're going to get more clearing, improving conditions. Breezy conditions will still remain through much of the day. But then Friday, we'll see breezy conditions, more sunshine, 86 degrees, 85 on Saturday. As we go through the weekend, it looks like we're going to see drying out conditions into early next week. So we get a nice little reprieve from the storm activity, but definitely it's going to be a noisy night tonight. Expect to see those winds really picking up, rain, and that surf we'll have to deal with through the overnight. We'll have more on this storm and the latest information on the track if there's any changes, but definitely look at more of those rain bands coming in. Those are going to have more impacts, and then also that tornado threat is going to start kicking in probably right around midnight tonight, maybe even a little earlier, but we'll continue to track that. Back to you.
Thanks, Vitas. You're watching CBS 12 News extended coverage of our Hurricane Nicole. We're going to have much more coming up right after this commercial break.
Being the one to turn to is a big responsibility.
At CBS 12 News, we have to be on point every night, covering more of the stories that impact you.
It takes a dedicated team of people on the streets, across the country, and around the world.
Constantly working to get you the facts, demanding answers, and getting the truth.
Finding solutions to improve your quality of life.
Always transparent, always consistent.
Making sure we get it right every night.
That's what we do.
CBS 12 News, the one to turn to. Weeknights at 11.
Well, hello, Winn-Dixie. Delivery! Right along! Shotgun!
Okay.
Winn-Dixie delivery in as quick as 2 hours. Over. At the same great in-store prices. Over.
That was quick. They just really love great prices. Huh.
Win-win twins for the delivery win!
Hi, honey.
Hey, Mom.
How's it going?
Did Nana's stuffing have rosemary or thyme?
Both.
Yeah, both, of course.
Oh, you found them.
Yeah, I got it.
Let me see it.
Okay.
I like it short.
Really?
Hello again.
Is it 300 or 350?
350. You had the best time.
Look. I'm just letting it cool for a few minutes.
How's everything going there? It's a little quiet, just me and Dad. We miss you. I think it was you who ate the pie, dear.
I did not. Dad was there. Ask him. Oh, I gotta go, Mom.
Okay, honey,
Love
bye.
you. Bye.
Hasn't she made that stuffing like a million times before?
$5 Whopper, crispy large fries. Fries in the Whopper, $5, no lies. A Whopper and fries, a $5 still. Said it 3 times to make sure it's real. BK, have it your way.
Welcome back, everyone. Amber Robb joining us over in Vero Beach tonight. We've been checking in with our live reporters throughout the evening. And Amber, what are you seeing out there?
Well, the roads are real quiet now. I've seen a couple cars drive by, not really much, but, we're at a gas station right now and the doors are boarded up. It still says open outside, but no one's coming here. No one can get gas because they've saran wrapped the gas pumps just to make sure, nothing's flying away. But there are a couple people out and about, not much. Earlier today, we saw a bunch of people just getting those last minute things. Publix actually ended up closing early in this area. Even before we got here around like noon, they were closed. And people were stopping at gas stations to get extra cans of gas just to make sure that they're covered in case they lose power to back up those generators. We were also over near a CBS, and a lot of people were going there because Publix was closed, so they're getting those last minute items. But now, for the most part, it's pretty clear, but we're feeling those wind gusts, lots of rain. We're getting pelted by the rain over here, and some of those gusts are really, really aggressive. And the Indian River County Emergency Management Office did send a release out on Facebook saying, we're reaching that point that we're getting close to where you shouldn't be crossing over those bridges at all. So we're here over in Vero Beach. We're not going to be crossing that bridge because officials are saying it's not safe to cross. But if you are still out and about, try to get in, be home, be safe. Listen to your radio, as we were telling you earlier. Being out here, we can give you all the information that you need, and you don't need to be out and about. But very calm here other than the winds. Earlier we were over at the beach and you could see all the erosion. Part of the pier is caved in.
and then along the sidewalk as well. And you could even see the waves coming up from the ocean. And I heard Vitas talking earlier about high tide, and we have not reached high tide yet. We're gearing up for it, but the water was already reaching on to the sidewalk. Back to you guys.
All right, thank you, Amber, for that live report. These are live pictures right now from the Hutchinson Island Bridge, the causeway that goes over to Hutchinson Island. St. Lucie County Sheriff Ken Mascara announcing earlier today that the causeway would be closed at 4 p.m. They were encouraging everyone to who does not live there and who wants to evacuate to leave the island as soon as possible. But as you can see now, it looks like they're blocking the entrance. They were checking IDs to make sure if you were crossing and getting on the island that you live there. Yeah, and to be clear, I think the whole goal here is you can't get on, but you can definitely get off, but you're going to have to be very careful because of the crosswinds up there, especially they say anything a 45-mile-an-hour wind gust could be kind of dangerous. We're going to have more live reports from our reporters who are out and about along the Treasure Coast and the Palm Beaches when we come right back.
Little things are what we live for. Little things bring us joy. And little things inspire big breakthroughs. From genetic screening to immunotherapies, Florida Cancer Specialists delivers personalized, targeted treatment to you so that you can focus on all the little things every step of the way.
Our internet isn't ideal.
My dad made the brilliant move to get us T-Mobile home internet.
Oh.
We have to share our signal with the entire neighborhood.
Yeah, now we do some weird things to get our speeds.
Well, I'm up.
Come on, kids.
This sucks.
Well, if you just switch, maybe you don't have to be there.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Okay.
yikes.
Oh, sorry. I wasn't thinking.
We don't really use the V word.
Kind of insensitive.
We prefer pro-lunar.
Yes, much better.
It's the Volkswagen year-end event, and you can sign, then drive with 0 down. New 2022 German-engineered models are in stock, and 2023 models are now arriving. Get a Motor Week driver's choice, a new 36-mile-per-gallon Taos. It costs less than the comparable Honda and Toyota. Or a Car and Driver editor's choice, a 7-passenger Tiguan. Sign, then drive into the new year in a new Volkswagen. Shop the Volkswagen year-end event at VWFlorida.com.
My treatment at United Vein Centers has literally changed my life.
Spending the day on my feet now? Not a problem, thanks to United Vein Centers.
For healthy legs that make you feel like new, schedule your vein screening at one of our locations.
Tattoo Studio Gel Pencil Liner from Maybelline, New York. Show up bold, wherever you go. Smudge resistant. Waterproof. Up to 36-hour wear. Tattoo Studio Gel Pencil, Maybelline, New York.
Newest thing from Pizza Hut isn't pizza at all. It's cheesy, so crispy, loaded with toppings, and just $6.99. Enough for two, price for one. New Pizza Hut melts, just $6.99.
Welcome back, everyone, to continuing coverage of Hurricane Nicole.
Yeah, our Lily Ortiz is standing by in the studio tonight. She has been monitoring social media. And Lily, what are you finding?
Well, right now I do want to show you what our local officials are doing to make sure that you are safe. I want to pull out this recent tweet from Port St. Lucie police officers. This is all the officers in their briefing room. It just says that they concluded their briefing. They're working throughout Hurricane Nicole to make sure that you are safe, ready to respond to the community, to any emergencies there. Now, I do want to track some power outages right now. I want to pull up a FPL website to show you what the power outages are in our area. I want to start with Palm Beach County. At this time, they are reporting more than 4,200 customers are out of power right now. In Martin County, it is 90. In St. Lucie County, 310. Over west of us in Okeechobee, 70 customers are without power this evening. And in Indian River County, that number is growing right now to 2,090 customers without power at this time. FPL workers, again, ensuring those customers to report those power outages, and they will get to you as soon as they can. Liz and Jim.
All right, we're out here with Vita Reed, our chief meteorologist. We were talking about the track of Nicole. Is there any variation right now at this point where it could go, or does this look like it's going to be on the track it's on now?
Pretty much. I think that what we're seeing with that is the track is going to continue to move in across the Treasure Coast right now. And when you think of the Treasure Coast, you think Martin County, getting north of that up to St. Lucie County, Indian River. But the way the track is right now, it could be a little bit, just a smidge, further south. Like, could it take the further south in this cone of possibility? Possible. This is just the center line saying, hey, along this, in the middle, 50% halfway through this cone of potential is right here, that line where they put the circle. Well, all of us are going to get some effects from that. That eye is big. It's going to affect more than that, just those areas. So it could run a little bit further south. If it did, then it'd be closer to like Jupiter. It'd be closer to Hope Sound as far as where it made official landfall. But wherever it does, it's going to have the greatest effects wind-wise, surge-wise, and that storm surge and heavy rain is going to affect us all. But definitely it'll be on the north side of that storm. So it's going to be pretty much right in this area. Anyone living in the Treasure Coast area, northeastern portions of Palm Beach County, definitely have to be alert and aware and be ready for a Cat 1 storm, because that's probably what most likely will happen overnight tonight.
And the strongest winds and rain, that's going to be right near the center.
Yeah, center northeast quadrant of the storm. So as it's pushing through, it's not coming directly like on a T, like directly straight in, due west. It's going to slant. So when you have a little bit of a slant, it's going to be that kind of that northeast quadrant, a little bit in the front, but a little bit on that northern edge of it. So anything when you think north, if you go like on the top of that storm, that will be the worst of it. That will be the strongest winds around the center of that circulation.
We only have a second, but just kind of give me an idea here. Is the timing 1 a.m.? We still looks like that's going to be landfall?
Yeah, so we have a landfall at about 1 o'clock. Now, the landfall won't just be at 1 and it's over in about 10 minutes. It's going to be about 1 to about 3 o'clock, depending on how quick the storm really rolls through. So you're going to have hurricane force winds, or things will deteriorate relatively quickly. But then the concern is ahead of that. And on the north side of it, the rain bands that come in, right around midnight on till probably about 5 in the morning, I'm concerned with tornadoes. So there's going to be a threat of maybe tornadoes, greater chance along the Treasure Coast as we're seeing that storm push in. So the real concern that I have is with the watch for those tornadoes. We're looking at the category, slight risk category, those areas in the yellow. That's going from St. Lucie County north. That's a level 2 potential slight risk category. So most likely we will have some isolated tornadoes spinning up in this. There's a good potential. So keep your phones on, keep your TV at a little murmur, whatever, but monitor it, because we will be on this 24-hour, but we will continue to track individual tornado warnings if they do happen.
I think it's pretty clear we're in for a long night. It's going to be not a lot of people sleeping tonight along the Treasure Coast and up in the North Palm Beach County area. We're going to have much more coming up right after this.
The future of Florida decided.
We made promises to the people of Florida, and we have delivered.
From the campaign trail to the ballot box, CBS 12 News. One team covered it every step of the way.
And today is your chance to have your vote count and your voice heard.
Informative.
We have team coverage tonight on all of the major races.
Accurate. On air and online. CBS 12 News. Eye on Politics.
Bringing you breaking news and the stories that impact you.
Your precise forecast and on-time traffic updates.
Information to help improve your quality of life.
CBS 12 News this morning.
Now that's the shakaroni.
Dang, that's huge. Oh, that's my piece of the shakaroni. That's the biggest one we make. Extra pepperoni, extra cheese on that thing. Somebody save me a slice?
No. They'll donate $1 from every shakaroni to the Papa John's Foundation.
Shakaroni. Oh, bring it in. Shakaroni. Get on beat. Shakaroni. Shake that wig on, come on. Shakaroni. You guys were so offbeat. All right, let's eat.
The legal system can be a maze. We know how to navigate our way through it. Don't get lost in the maze. If you've been wronged, we're ready to fight to get you the money and justice you deserve.
What does it mean to be a nurse at Cleveland Clinic, Florida? To us, it's being at the center of world-class care with one of Florida's top hospital systems and supporting the health of our communities while getting the support you need to care for your career, your personal well-being, and thousands of lives every year. For every care in the world. Further your nursing career at clevelandclinicflorida.jobs.
Discover the magic with Florida Times the Cash Scratch-Offs, featuring 40 prizes of $1 million or more, plus bonus play. The Florida Lottery.
We could fly to such great heights. Oh, the places we'll go. Oh, the places this world has to show. So let's get lost in the great unknown.
Enjoy free balcony upgrades, onboard credit, plus kids sail free. MSC Cruises, a world of discovery.
Welcome back, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm Liz Quirantes.
I'm Jim Grimes. We continue tracking Hurricane Nicole as it gets closer to our coastline. We have team coverage along the Treasure Coast in Palm Beach County.
But first, let's head over straight to Chief Meteorologist Vitas Reed with a check on where Nicole is right now. It's getting closer.
Yeah, once again, it's going to continue to get a little more rougher out there. Those coastlines are angry. The waves are angry. We are going to continue to see that water pushing in. High tides approaching us in the next few hours, along with the potential for storm surge of 3 to 5 feet above normal what we see. And we have king tide around this time, as well as we had a full moon just a couple of days ago. So what we're looking at is a lot of potential for coastal flooding and inland flooding. As we continue to look at the tropical satellite, the 7 p.m. update, moving west at 13 miles per hour, winds at sustained winds. That means continuous blowing winds at 75 miles per hour, gusting to 85 miles per hour as this storm continues to move through the Grand Bahama Island. And it looks like there's an eye that's going to continue to exit that area as we go through the next about hour and a half or so. And then it's going to be getting closer. We're going to get those rain bands that are going to push in with this storm. What we're looking at is a very vast storm. This thing has a lot of a wind field that's stretching all the way up into southern Georgia, near Savannah, all the way up to Charleston. They're getting some gusty winds, and it looks like we are going to continue to see those wind field pick up across our area, along with the rain bands really coming down pretty heavy, and also the threat of isolated tornadoes in those. Now, the track looks pretty confident as far as the landfall, anywhere from northeastern Palm Beach County up towards the southern portions of the Treasure Coast here, up around Brevard County. So these, if you center it up, where could the center of that eye be? Well, the eye is not just one county. It's going to be covering at least 2.5 counties. It's a pretty big area that we're looking along the Treasure Coast. So anyone from Martin County, St. Lucie County, Indian River, definitely that might be the actual center point of this storm as it makes landfall, then moves over Okeechobee County on the northeastern corner. But it looks like the strongest winds, once again, are on the northern edge of the storm as it makes landfall, then starts to lose a little bit of strength, moving across the state, just south of Orlando, making a turn around the Big Bend region, heading into southern Georgia, then kind of fizzling out in the mountains of South Carolina. As we continue to watch the track, putting it with all the model runs, it looks like we're having the spaghetti plot pretty much in agreement of a landfall somewhere right there in around the St. Lucie County and southern Indian River. So we'll see if that occurs. It could take the most further south track and affect more of Martin County, St. Lucie County. But we'll watch that. All of us are going to have some effects from this. So we're looking at a Category 1 storm, 74 mile per hour to 95. That's the category, the range of the winds. And right now the winds are sustained at 75. It might strengthen a little bit right before landfall. It's opening up over some warm ocean water in the Gulf Stream just off the coast of the state of Florida. Some shingles, gutter, and vinyl siding damage expected with the storm. Large branches snap and some trees toppled that can come down over power lines on cars, rooftops, so you don't want to be out during this. The conditions will deteriorate as we go through overnight, as that gets closer and closer. So it's better that you're in. It's nighttime. You can't see the roads, or whether that is a flooded out road or a canal. Also, power lines being down. You just don't want to be out in this. It's going to be a bad night. We're looking at power outages. They could last for a couple of days. And the crews are out kind of pre-prepped to get right on it by tomorrow as the storm moves further north. Looking at PBIA. No planes taking off. Airport has been closed as it closed earlier today around 4 o'clock. And it looks like we aren't going to see anything as far as any air traffic until we get that opened up by tomorrow at some point. We're looking at the warnings right now. Hurricane warnings in red stretching from Brevard County, Indian River, St. Lucie County, Martin County, and then the eastern portions of Palm Beach County, about 40-41 over to the coast. And that's where we have the highest populated areas. As you get more in the farmlands west, it's under tropical storm storm warning that continues around Lake Okeechobee County and points north as we go through the overnight. The concern also is late after about midnight till about 4 in the morning. We probably will get some tornadic activity, maybe up to 5 in the morning as we see that low come on shore. It is going to have some spinning action. It's a big spin with smaller vorticities in those thunderstorm cells that can cause a quick drop down of a tornado, and it could be causing the damage. So we're looking at level 2 from St. Lucie County all the way up through the Treasure Coast, level 1 surrounding that. But that doesn't mean that we can't get a rain band that pushes through Palm Beach County and it spins a tornado and drops it. So everyone in our viewing area should be alert that we could see a potential for tornadic activity. But the greater chances on the northern side of that storm, the more volatile, more instability on that part of the storm as it makes landfall. So we're also under that flood watch through tomorrow as we have plenty of rainfall, anywhere from 3 to 5 inches of rain up to pockets of 8, depending on some of these rain bands that push through. The ground saturated is not going to have anywhere to go to drain or absorb. So you're going to get a lot of ponding, standing water, intersections, roads that are going to be impassable. You don't want to drive your car in there and get stuck and have the fire department have to come rescue you and you got water all in your car. Stay home. Why do that? So make sure that you take the better choice not to get out in this. So we're looking at the wind fields as far as the timing. We're looking at those winds picking up. Of course, that center of circulation could be anywhere from this range to up here. We're talking about the Treasure Coast. And as it makes landfall, the strongest winds will be on the northern side of the storm. On the back edge, we'll start to get some clearing as we get through the day on Thursday. And it'll start to, maybe even the sun will start to come out as we get into Thursday afternoon, mid-morning afternoon. Well, I think we're going to probably see this thing kind of crank along, and then we start drying out and getting a better situation for us as we get through the next 24 hours. 100% chance for that tropical storm force winds. Expect that. And that's through our entire viewing area. So if you hear my voice, you watch us, you're in Okeechobee County, wrapping around the lake, all the way up in the Treasure Coast through Palm Beach County, you're going to have some sort of tropical storm force winds. They could be gusting up to 75 miles per hour. On the north side, gusting up to 85 to 90. So we have, wherever that low is going to come on the Treasure Coast, the south side will also have some gusty winds to deal with, and it can do some damage. So just be prepared for that. Let's talk more about the track of the storm and also look at the radar and show you some of those rain bands coming in. Mike, what do you see out there?
Well, Vitas, we continue to see, obviously, that storm surge getting higher and higher. Here's an interesting time lapse near the Stewart area since sunrise this morning. You can see all that water rising up, covering the beach, getting up towards the dune areas, and this is what we call the storm surge. And during the times of high tide, which is right now, you do see the potential for flooding. Now, obviously, it's too late to evacuate, but in these areas, Zone A and Zone B, the red and the yellow, you could see the best potential for some storm surge flooding. That's all barrier islands and mobile homes and poorly constructed homes out there. So for North County, we're looking at these areas near Singer Island, the Lake Park, down to the Palm Beach Shores area. That is that orange that you see there. In the area near West Palm Beach, east of US 1, mostly the island of Palm Beach and Singer Island, up to perhaps areas on Flagler Drive in the West Palm area. You might be seeing some water on Flagler Drive overnight tonight and tomorrow. Again, this is at Zone B, evacuation zone. For those of you in South Palm Beach County, all along A1A east of US 1 from Highland Beach to Delray to Boca, the potential for some flooding and areas further south, again, mostly east of US 1. Here's a look at Martin County, the Barrier Island, Hutchinson Island, Sewell's Point area, Jupiter Island. This is Zone A, where you're supposed to have been evacuated. It's voluntary. A lot of folks have been staying, and even across the St. Lucie River in the inlet areas up towards Port St. Lucie, the water can push all the way up the St. Lucie River and flood some of these areas inland west of US 1 and just east of I-95, and that extends south to areas of Palm City. So these areas, well, inland could be flooding. For those of you up there across the St. Lucie County coast, the potential for flooding, again, mostly Hutchinson Island, St. Lucie Village, from Fort Pierce over the bridge down towards the Jensen Beach area, some flooding. That's the Zone A, and Zone B a little bit further inland, again up the St. Lucie River towards areas just south of Port St. Lucie, and also in the Indian River County coast, a continued theme of the Barrier Islands and along and east of US 1 near the intracoastal water, subject to flooding, of course, under that evacuation zone. Storm surge warning, once again, persists for all areas. Storm surge warning means that
Life-threatening ocean flooding, the water rising is possible or expected within the next 36 hours. You're supposed to have taken care of whatever you need to do at this point. Storm surge flooding from North Palm south 2 to 4 feet. That's the water above ground level. A 3 to 5 foot storm surge from North Palm up through Stewart, Port St. Lucie, to Fort Pierce Inlet, up to the Sebastian Inlet, and areas north up there into the Central Florida area. All right, so here's the eye clearly visible over Grand Bahama Island tonight. Now, it's still moving off towards the west, and we're having hope and faith in the computer models that it would begin to make that west-northwest turn and avoid a direct landfall in Palm Beach County. We think it will be turning very soon. Nevertheless, we are in the outer steady rain bands from this now. So heavy soaking rain likely for the next several hours, Vera to Hope Sound to West Palm to Delray to Boca. We see the rain continue to come in from east to west. We have had some storm reports out there. For South Palm Beach County, we're seeing the rain stretching well west now, 441, almost out to Belle Glade. This area includes Lake Worth Beach, Delray, Boca, out to West Delray, so Boynton Beach Boulevard, wet, Woolbright Road, Yamato, areas further south and west continue to see the rain moving in. Here are central parts of the county, West Palm, the downtown area. Not a good night to be walking out of doors, that's for sure. And that rain all the way west now towards Pahokee and Belle Glade, where of course it is lighter, further away from the circulation of Hurricane Nicole. Rain continues to feed in from the north into Jupiter and Palm Beach Gardens. Up there across the Treasure Coast, Martin and St. Lucie County, a more moderate band backing in from the ocean. So Stewart, it's raining pretty hard tonight for you. Hope Sound, areas south. Here's a look at Okeechobee and Indian River County, where the rain is more sporadic and a little bit lighter, but nevertheless, those rain bands are going to get heavier as we go through the course of the night. And here's that hour-by-hour forecast showing 9 o'clock tonight. Here's a look at midnight. Interesting to note, our graph model, which has always showed the system tracking north of the hurricane centers, continues to show that